This is HRRN, horse racing's voice.
And Delta Prince shoots for the lead on the outside. Behind them, Conquest Panthera starting to explode, but ran about as Delta Prince hit the front. Delta Prince the leader. Shakamat in second, then Caribou Club and Conquest Panthera. And it is Delta Prince in the King Eddie. And she's back with a vengeance. And Moira's spacing them here as race 3 in front of Fev Rover. Atomic Blonde down the outside, flat up against the rail, and she's going to give them a galloping lesson in the Canadian Stakes.
Welcome to the Equine Forum, presented by TwinSpires.
Awesome Gem has hit the front. Noosa Beach has to fight back. Awesome Gem and Noosa Beach, but it's Awesome Gem pouring it on. Awesome Gem in front, now almost a length. Awesome Gem is going away in the mile. He's got it won. Stanley House trying to run them down. Paramount Prince in front. A furlong to run, dashed away for Patrick Husbands. Elysian Field in second. Stanley House in third. But Paramount Prince, Prince becomes the king. Paramount Prince wins the 164th King's Plate.
Now here's Mike Penna and Angela Herman.
Good morning once again, everyone. Welcome to the show that launched a network, the Equine Forum, all presented by TwinSpires and all right here on the Horse Racing Radio Network. We say hello to all of you joining us throughout North America on Sirius 162 XM 207, along with our terrestrial partners, and streaming live right now worldwide on our website, horseracingradio.net. And if you miss any of today's show, you can check out the podcast available after we finish up at 11 a.m. Eastern on our site or your favorite podcast platform. Countess of Canterbury, good morning, Angela. Happy King's Plate Day.
Good morning. Happy King's Plate Day to you. They're going to start out a little bit early up north, but with good reason. Big card up there, 13 races worth, and the feature falls towards the end, but lots to enjoy along the way.
Early post at Ellis Park today in Henderson as well. They shifted things around. I believe it's, 11 a.m. Eastern is their first post?
Yeah, trying to avoid the heat. I understand completely, and maybe take advantage of a horse racing world that's waking up early without much to bet in the morning. You can turn that way today and trying to beat the heat they are in that card.
King's Plate Day is always so special, and the last couple of years we've had the privilege of being there for the King's Plate. We had the privilege of broadcasting it several years ago, and it's one of those where you talk about the race, but you also talk about the pageantry that goes along with it and, you know, all of the different things leading up to it. And that's one thing, Angela, that I love about international racing is when we were in Barbados, there was a parade on the turf course before the Barbados Gold Cup. And now in Canada, very similar. You have all of the processions and everything that goes along with it. It's a really, really spectacular event.
And when it's a celebration of your marquee event, you want to roll out the red carpet in all aspects. When you bring those connections in that are going to come in for these big races, when the crowd comes in and wants something to bet and wants to really take in the day as not just a good day of racing, but an experience with the King's Plate, I could see how it's exciting to just lead up to it, but to really put the day together takes a lot. So the fact that they put on a great show year after year is a testament to what a great day this is for them and how much they look forward to it on their calendar.
It's not just the King's Place's signature event today, but you have 6 stakes races on the 13-race card this afternoon. 3 of those are graded stakes, but the King's Plate, race 10, with a post of 6:12 Eastern, has a 12-horse field, and I think in terms of the storylines, you know me, Angela, I am a huge storyline guy, and in terms of the storylines, one of the ones that is going to come to the forefront immediately involves the even money morning line favorite Luster, one of 2 fillies in the race, and fillies have done pretty darn good in the King's Plate.
They have. I believe they've won almost 40 editions of this race.
Yeah,
and
39.
Yeah, exactly. I was going to say Luster might push them to that number, but no shortage of feminine talent in here. You get a couple of them. Her and Dixie Law, both I think have a big shot in here. And one of the unique parts about this Oaks and the King's Plate, they're not run on the same day like Kentucky Oaks and Kentucky Derby. So you do see a lot of these horses go from the Oaks and have success at the trial. And I think that Luster is definitely one that would fit that mold.
Yeah, she's even money in here for a reason, taking on the boys. Hall of Famer Josie Carroll will give a leg up to fellow Hall of Famer, that's jockey John Velazquez. Carroll in search of a 4th win in this race. John Velazquez looking for number 2 after he won it with Wonder Godot just a few years back.
Another filly, yes,
Yeah.
yeah, made her impact felt. It's nice to see, because sometimes you see that it's 2-year-olds, the fillies and colts are on a level playing field. Then the colts maybe start to creep ahead with the time and the figures and things like that. But the King's Plate, not such a case. The fillies definitely make their presence felt year after year.
How much does the inside post position in the 12-horse field concern you?
It concerns me a little bit, just because Luster is a horse that likes to be close. So if somebody wants to go up there and maybe dash along, she might be inclined to chase after them. But just the way that she handles herself and the dominance with which she handled the field in the Oaks, I think she might have even surprised me. I use her on a lot of wagers, watched the race, and expected a big effort from her. But whoa, big effort doesn't necessarily describe that finish.
Josie Carroll's first win in the race came back in 2006 with Edenwald, and I'm pretty sure Edenwald was drawn to the inside, post number 1. So it's not like she hasn't saddled a horse from the rail in this race before, and it's not like she hasn't been successful with it. We'll see if Luster can follow suit and give her that 4th victory in the race. How about Bricchetto? Here's another horse. Talking about storylines, I love this one. I spent an hour with Bricchetto's trainer, Julia Carroll, yesterday, and this is her second King's Plate starter. Reservoir was her first in 2009, ended up finishing 11th that day. But Bricchetto, an 18-1 upsetter of the Marine Stakes last time out. Second choice at 5-1.
And good to get the thoughts of Julia Carey, because Bricchetto is a horse that hasn't done much two-turn racing, but the last time out that he did handle the mile and a 16th, at least, it left me with the impression as he was passing a Magical Factor that a mile and a quarter is not going to be a problem for him. And that's a question facing them all, but you get more confidence from some of their recent races than others. And Bricchetto is one that not just has a good story to him, but also has the recency to make you think that taking this step forward isn't going to be as much of a challenge for him, and that he has that room for some growth in him.
If you want to hear more about Bricchetto, Julia, in that hour-long conversation on Trainer Talk yesterday, spent a lot of time talking about him, and rightfully so. She also told some great stories about her career. She's a lot of fun, and I think you'll enjoy listening to that. The podcast is up on our website and any podcast platform. John Velazquez, you heard us mention his name a few minutes ago, riding the even money favorite Luster. You're going to hear from him later in the show at 8:35 Eastern, so stay tuned for that. We'll talk to him about a variety of topics, but certainly about Luster and how he feels she can overcome that inside post as she looks to capture the King's Plate against the boys. How about Highway to the Moon? Here's a horse trained by Dale Desruisseaux, who another Trainer Talk alum, Angela. He joined me a few weeks ago on Trainer Talk right before Highway to the Moon took the plate trial. So I think he feels like we're his lucky charm, and he's going to be with us at 9 o'clock. But Highway to the Moon, third choice, 6-1, and the only other horse in the 12-horse field that is single digits.
And what a game run he put in last time to win the plate trial, because that was not an easy stretch run for any of them. But Highway to the Moon showed a lot of grit and kept on rolling. And he's another one that I think is among just a few that you don't have immediate concerns about the mile and a quarter by looking at the recent races. But the speed that he did show, it's going to be interesting to see what position he lands in early. But the fact that he was able to relax last time around, I think gives him a little bit of an extra edge over some of these that have been a little more one-dimensional in some of their races.
Two chances for Dale to pull off the victory. As you mentioned earlier, there was another filly by the name of Dixie Law, trained by Dale Desruisseaux, so we have plenty to talk about with him when he joins us 9 o'clock. Kevin Attard, well, he's on a roll in the King's Plate, right? 3 of the last 4 runnings have gone to a Kevin Attard trainee, including Caitlin Her Greatness in 2024, Mancetti last year, so he's looking for the hat trick, to use a hockey term in Canada, looking for the hat trick later today.
Yeah, using hockey terminology is always going to work for me, Mike. No problem at all. But a little less pressure, I suppose, with the entrance that he has in this year's running. A couple of long shots, but some changes in order for them. So hearing how they're coming into the race and how on earth they're going to take the step forward to match up with Luster, I mean, there's got to be a game plan there. So we got to get all the details on it.
Kevin going to be here, 9:20 Eastern. So lots of King's Plate conversation. We're also going to talk about the Longacres Mile, which takes place tomorrow at Emerald Downs with Joe Withee. He'll be here at 9:40. And I want to talk about one of the storylines in there that I love in just a minute. But before we do, our poll question this morning pertains to the King's Plate. Which bet would you make in today's King's Plate at Woodbine? Would you take Luster, the even money favorite, or would you put your money on the field? Everybody else except for Luster. Which bet are you going to make? You can go to @HRRN on X, Horse Racing Radio Network on Facebook is where you'll find those polls. Or if you don't do social media, email the show, Mike@horseracingradio.net. Let us know which bet you would make in the King's Plate. Would it be Luster, if you just put all your money on Luster, even money favorite? Or do you think, nah, I'll take my chances with everybody else, and I'll bet the field? What do you think, Angela? Which way are you going?
I feel like we might be on opposite sides of this debate because I just love Luster, and I think that she's one of the best fillies that'll run through this race in quite a while. I think that we still haven't seen the best of her. I don't know if we'll even see the best of her in the King's Plate. That might still be coming down the road. She's just handled everything with such ease. You don't know when you've hit the bottom of her. Maybe we do see that today, but I just don't think that we've seen it yet with her. I would side with Luster, especially at even money. I don't know if she's going to be that, so I would take that price.
A lot of things can happen during the running of a horse race. She has to overcome that inside post. Let's say for some reason she doesn't break well. She gets trapped in behind horses and doesn't get to her usual stalking position. Now she's facing the boys. Now she's going a mile and a quarter. Yeah, she checks all the boxes, but a lot of things can happen during the running of a horse race. I will take the field. If I'm going to make that bet, I'm going to take 11 other horses against her. I just think that that's the smart play.
Yeah, I don't blame you. I know that there's some nice horses to her outside. That's just how impressed I've been with Luster. And it all plays out in the races. That's why they run them. The price that she's going to be, I don't know if I would recommend betting the house on her, but she is definitely the sort of horse that you're going to want to tune in on, not just for the King's Plate, but down the road. She's only 5 starts into her career. This will only be start number 6. There's still more to come from her.
We're going to get you our Mojo Racing Impossible Trivia question momentarily. Before we do, I mentioned that storyline that I love in tomorrow's Longacres Mile at Emerald Downs. 8 horses are entered there. One of the horses, Slew's Tiz Whiz, is an 8-year-old Washington-bred gelding who won the race in 2022, and he's making his 5th consecutive start in the Longacres Mile tomorrow. I love this story.
You want to talk about storylines throughout a race. You know, you have these campaigners that have run for a long time, and you see some horses that are true war horses in the Longacres. I mean, it's what it's supposed to be. It's supposed to be a lineup of some of these horses that didn't make the Triple Crown Trail, that are the blue collar types that come in for their moment. You know, they've come up from some different sorts of races, but nice to see them come together for the big event and put on a big field. I mean, the Longacres Mile is supposed to be this kind of race. It's kind of cool.
Again, we'll talk Longacres Mile with Joe Withee in the second hour of today's program. I'll run down the entire guest lineup for you in just a moment, but first it's time to check in with Lee Delapina. He has this week's Mojo Racing Impossible Trivia question.
Thank you, Mike and Angela. This week's Impossible Trivia question is brought to you by Mojo Racing Partners. Get your mojo working at mojoracingpartners.com. How many fillies have won the Canadian Triple Crown? Who were they, and in what years? No Googling. We'll give out the answer at the end of the show.
The answer comes up right around 10:55 Eastern before we wind things down. Okay, full guest lineup for you this morning. When we come back after this first break, you're going to hear my interview with Woodbine handicapper Jeff Bratt. He walks through all 6 of those stakes races, including the King's Plate later today. John Velazquez, the Hall of Famer, who will ride even money favorite Luster in the King's Plate, will be here right around 8:35. 9 o'clock Eastern, Dale Desruisseaux, talking about his King's Plate runners. Kevin Attard at 9:20, Joe Withee at 9:40. 10 o'clock Eastern is the TwinSpires Triple Play. Vance Hanson will give you 3 races to watch and wager on with TwinSpires this afternoon. Kurt Becker's Stroll Through Racing History at 10:20, a look at the inaugural King's Plate back in 1860. And at 10:30, Dale and Tim, I Ask, They Answer. It is a loaded show. We kick it all off next on the Equine Forum, presented by TwinSpires on HRRN, Horse Racing's voice.
Race to TwinSpires, where you can unlock a $25 risk-free bet. Just use the code HRRN25 when you sign up. And if your first bet doesn't win, TwinSpires will refund your account up to $25. Wagering on the app is fast with free past performances, insider picks, and power plays every day you wager. TwinSpires. Download the app today to earn your $25 risk-free bet. Void where prohibited. For terms and conditions, visit TwinSpires.com. Must be 18 or older, 21 and older where applicable. For help with a gambling problem, call 1-800-GAMBLER.
Will you accept the Breeders' Cup Challenge? The chance to compete against the best in the world? The chance to race for a piece of over $34 million in purses and awards? The chance to prove you belong on racing's biggest stage? The chance to become a champion? Winning a Breeders' Cup Challenge Series race gives you that opportunity with an invitation to horse racing's biggest event of the year, the Breeders' Cup World Championships at Keeneland. where finish lines become the start of a legacy and starting gates shine on the world stage. Win a Breeders' Cup Challenge Series race and earn a guaranteed starting position in a Breeders' Cup race. Entry fees paid, a $10,000 nominator award, travel incentives, and more. Here, winning a Challenge Series race is just the beginning. See the full schedule of races around the globe and learn more at breederscup.com/challenge.
Join us at Kentucky Downs August 29th through September 9th, showcasing 7 days of racing with $37 million in purses, including $17.9 million in KTDF purses for Kentucky breds and the $3 million Nashville Derby on Saturday, September 5th. America's richest and only all-turf meet, hosting 2 Breeders' Cup Win and You're In races. Reserved seats on sale at theMintKentuckyDowns.com. There's unique, and there's Kentucky Downs.
This is Woodbine Week on HRRN.
The thrill of world-class thoroughbred racing continues at Toronto's Woodbine Racetrack this Saturday with the 167th running of the King's Plate. First post is 12:30 p.m. Eastern, with special wagers including $250,000 guaranteed early, middle, and late pick 5s and a $5 Woodbine Stakes pick 3, which has a 15% takeout, plus many more wagering opportunities. You will not want to miss King's Plate Day at Woodbine. For more information on racing and wagering at Woodbine, visit woodbine.com.
You're listening to the Equine Forum on HRRN, presented by TwinSpires.
And they're inside the quarter pole. Edenwald and Sterwins. Who will blink first? Sterwins on the outside. To the inside, Edenwald. Malakoff has flattened out a bit, then Shoali Smooth. Edenwald on the inside is running the race of his life. They're in the final 16th of a mile. Edenwald and a Milram semi to win the 147th running of the Queen's Plate. Sterwins was second, a show photo between Malakoff and Ascot Bill.
The first of 3 wins for Josie Carroll in the Queen's Plate, now known as the King's Plate. Edenwald getting the victory back in 2006, 20 years ago. Will she add a 4th to her resume later today? We will find out. That King's Plate coming up as race number 10 on the 13-race program, right around 6:12 Eastern Time. And Angela, I don't know about you, but as somebody who grew up wanting to be a track announcer, and you got the opportunity to do it. Dan Loisel, that voice, his style, my goodness, I miss him so much. He was fantastic.
Just any sort of unique spin that one can put on their race calling and put their stamp on it really will last the test of time, and his voice definitely does that. There's a couple that you do associate with Woodbine, but they're very strong, clear, concise calls, and you can associate them with that track.
Yep, no doubt about it. And now Robert Geller is the voice of Woodbine, has been for a long time, and he's another iconic caller who just does a tremendous job. And his voice, just when you hear his voice, you immediately think Woodbine.
Exactly. And it's challenging. You have to call a few different courses and anticipate some of the moves that come along with each. I learned that the hard way with different surfaces and how things can get very stacked at the finish, especially on a synthetic surface. And some of those things you just have to anticipate coming. You have to make all of those decisions and say all of those things with split-second accuracy. It is not an easy thing, but they sure make it sound like it is.
6 stakes races on the card. 3 of those are graded. Jeff Bratt took time earlier this week to sit down with me. He's a longtime Woodbine handicapper, and he took time to sit down and walk through all of them. And he started with the first of those 6 stakes races, the $150,000 Soaring Free.
So I don't know if you're much of a baseball fan or not, but it does seem like Kevin Attard is the Los Angeles Dodgers of 2-year-olds at Woodbine this year. He just has so many nice 2-year-olds in his barn. He's got a couple in this race. He's got De La Renta and he's got Quipster. And the one thing that you have to watch a little bit carefully here, Mike, is that there are some fillies that have cross-entered in the boys' race, the Soaring Free, and they've also gone in the race a little bit later on to Catch a Glimpse. So trying to figure out where some of these horses are going is a bit of a question as well. But De La Renta, I know the mare, she ran twice on turf and she never won. And I know that Johnny V's jumping ship and going towards the Wesley Ward horse in the spots, coming from Royal Ascot, that being through the years. But I could not have been more impressed with how she ran first time out. She absolutely crushed a really good group of horses on that day. for a 2-year-old around these parts to get a 79 buyer early on in the season, I think she's got the makings of being a really nice horse. So I think De La Renta is the one, and I think the Wesley Ward horse might go off as the favorite because that you might get a good number on De La Renta.
5-2 on the morning line. Do we get 5-2?
I think you do, because I think Johnny V is going to take a lot of money. A lot of people see Wesley Ward and Johnny V, and they immediately go there. I think through the years it's probably here because of Lasix, and that's another thing that we should point out to your listeners, because you can race on Lasix in Canada and stake races. So I think that's probably one of the main reasons why that horse is there. But don't sleep on Quipster as well, the other Kevin Attard horse in this race. That's a pretty nice individual too.
6-1 on the morning line for Quipster. That's the Soaring Free, race number 6, post time 3:11 Eastern. It will be followed by the Grade 3 Bold Venture, post time 3:46 for that one. How'd you see the Bold Venture?
Well, Notorious Gangster is kind of an intriguing horse. So he ran the plate last year, and he ran not bad when finishing third. But I wonder if Josie Carroll thinks, you know what, we might just have ourselves a really nice sprinter on our hands. Because if you look at the way that he won his race against Allowance Foes back in May of this season, he absolutely crushed on that day. And they've kind of been shopping around for spots. They entered him in the Seagram, which is 2 turns. And I think with the pace presence of like a Poulin Noti in here and a Western World, I think it sets up for maybe somebody coming from off the pace. So I think that Notorious Gangster at 6.5, he's going to have to hustle a little bit, Mike, but I think he might be able to get up and beat the field in here. And maybe that's a sign of things to come for Josie Carroll a little bit later on in the program as well.
And we'll talk more about that. She will be looking for another victory in the King's Plate later in the afternoon. The Grade 2 Canadian follows the Bold Venture. That's a longer race on the turf, 1 mile and a 16th on the inner turf. Talk to me about the Canadian.
Yeah, so in the Canadian Stakes, you have Equine, who Kevin Attard's going to send out. They went down to Saratoga. The horse has been based here at Woodbine, but has never run here at Woodbine, owned by Rapoli Stables, and did win and got a good setup and against non-winners of one other than competition. But I think the race goes through Proctor Street. I think in the Della Rose at Saratoga, I don't think she got a fair shot. She got bumped early on. She was so rank in that race, and she never really ran her race. But if you look at the way that she ran the Mint Julep and the Modesty and the Cardinal, like if she repeats those races, she's going to be really, really tough to beat. This race is on the inside turf course. We've just reopened the big course. So she's going to have to hustle. I think she would love for this race to be on the bigger course, but I still think she might be able to get up in time for Commissioner Brennan Walsh.
2-1 on the morning line for Proctor Street. Do you see that floating up at all, or do you think that's about fair?
Great question. I think that's pretty fair. I think that's a pretty fair price in there, because I think her back class kind of stands out a little bit in this race.
All right, the following race is race number 9. That's the Catch a Glimpse Stakes, purse of $150,000, 6.5 furlongs on the turf course. Who do you like there?
So we're going 6.5, as you said, on the big course in this spot. We've got a lovely field assembled in this spot. And surprise, surprise, we're going towards a Kevin Attard horse by the name of Maloney. This is where we find Johnny V riding. She's out of a mare that produced Golden Canary, who won the Soaring Free Stakes, as a matter of fact, back in her 2-year campaign. She's a 3-time winner on the turf. Was the dam. And I think that Maloney is one that's going to be a horse to reckon with. The one that I think is going to be another horse in here, and I had a tough time separating these two, Mike, is Royal Foxtrot. She finished a very good second last time out, and against a Flightline horse by the name of Go for Launch out of Starship Jubilee. And Royal Foxtrot just ran out of racetrack on that day. So I do think the extra distance is going to help out her chances. So I don't think there's a whole lot separating those two, but I'll give the slight nod to Maloney there coming up in the Catch a Glimpse.
Kevin Attard, Mark Cassey, the two trainers there respectively. Those guys never win any races at Woodbine, do they?
Exactly. They're starving a little bit up here, I think. So I hope for their sake they pick up a rare victory in these races.
All right, that brings us to the King's Plate. Race number 10. Post time is 6:12 Eastern. You have $1 million on the line. 1.25 miles on the all-weather. It is for the 3-year-old Canadian breds. Just a fantastic race. The favorite role goes to number 1, Luster, Josie Carroll, Johnny V, the Hall of Famer in the irons.
So we went back to an old Kentucky Derby tradition where the first thing we did is to pick who gets to pick which post position. So, for example, in this event, Don Eat got the first pick. The horse that had the last pick was Luster, and she stuck with post position number 1. Now, the good news to point out is the fact that Josie Carroll has won this race from post position number 1 in the past with Edenwold, and last year, the winner of this race was Mancetti from post position number 1 as well. So we have seen horses overcome that draw. If she repeats the Woodbine Oaks, Mike, she wins. Now, if she regresses a little bit, then that's where things become a little bit interesting in here, because you do have some boys in the spots that are just licking their chops. Burketto, the number 9, is getting better and better with each and every race. Magical Factor, I think should be playing for the Dallas Cowboys. You should see the size of this horse's chest. Unbelievable. But he mentally kind of lost it a little bit in the Marine. He got a little bit hot and was a little bit silly when they got the tack on. So Burketto and Magical Factor are kind of my backup plays in here. And the price play for me is a maiden, very special. He actually acted up in the gate in the plate trial, had to be scratched. I don't know how good this guy is. And you might say, well, how does a maiden win this race? Maidens have won this race in the past, so he's kind of my long shot player coming up in the King's Plate. But the race clearly goes through Luster.
I'm glad you brought up Burketto, because this is a horse that, for me anyway, I'm a huge storyline guy. And
yep.
in terms of, different things that people can gravitate toward that are unique, and this would certainly be unique. Burketto could become the first horse bred in Manitoba ever to win the King's Plate.
Yeah, and they name all their horses after grapes that are used in wine. I'm not a wine connoisseur, but I understand that Burketto is a grape used for wine. And as you said, yes. So you have a much better palate than I do, I think. And if this horse wins, Mike, I think Assiniboia Downs, I think the roof might collapse, because I think the people in Winnipeg will absolutely lose it, and deservedly so. It's a really cool story.
Yeah, it'd be a great story for Burketto's trainer, Julia Carey, and for Ryan Munger, the jockey, as well. Yep. So a lot of things playing in the favor of Burketto from a storyline standpoint, but still has to show up and run when they go to the post for race number 10. So it all goes through Luster for you.
Yeah, it does. It does. Now, listen, I like, from a sportsman's point of view and from a betting point of view, I kind of like that the horse got a bad draw. It just makes things a little bit more intriguing, right? So let's see what materializes.
All right, that's the King's Plate, and then we wrap things up. The final of the 6 stakes races is the Grade 2 King Edward. Always a fantastic race. 1 mile on the inner turf, purse of $200,000. How'd you see that one, Jeff?
Defending champions back in this race. Mike gassed me up. Samson bred, who went down to Santa Anita and had some stake success down there as well. But this race last year was on the big course. Now it's on the smaller course. I thought that Irish Aces ran terrific when finishing second, and the Connaught just got going a little bit too late. But I'm kind of hoping that Piper's Factor, that Johnny V puts this horse on the point. I really like him when he's on the engine, and he can go really fast, this horse can, when he gets to the front. And if he clears, he might go a long way, and he might give me a bit of a thrill, a bit of a number. So I was kind of chalky in some of the earlier races, trying to find a bit of a price in the King Eddie.
Jeff, appreciate the visit as always. Great stuff. I hope you crush them on Saturday.
Thanks, buddy. Always great catching up with you as well. Have a great weekend, everybody.
All right, Jeff Bratt really does a great job handicapping up there at Woodbine, and you heard him walk through all 6 of those races. You can bet all of those races today with TwinSpires. Don't forget to do that. Angelo, in terms of the King's Plate itself, you heard Jeff talk about the race going through Luster. There's no doubt that's the reason she's the even money morning line favorite. But if you're going to play against Luster, let's say for whatever reason she rolls out of bed and she just doesn't bring her A game and she doesn't feel like running today. Let's say she doesn't show up. Which other horses in the race are you looking for as a potential upsetter and price play?
I think that you touched on the main hope being Burketto, because I think that he's just going to naturally handle the distance better than a lot of them, but the same could be said for Very Special, just because he has started out with his maiden races and they've been 2 turns for the most part. And, I mean, you don't get that many 1 1/8 maiden special weights carded, but that's exactly what Very Special ran in last time around. I'm glad he mentioned that he was in the plate trial. He had to be scratched at the gate, but they have blinkers on him, and he's handled the distance thrown at him. That's going to be the major question facing a whole bunch of them, not just how you handle winners, not how you handle this field, not how you handle this pace, but will the distance catch up with everybody? I don't think it'll catch up with Very Special. I just think that he'll have pace to run at, and maybe this is a good spot, not to break your maiden, but to get a piece at a price. I definitely think he's one of the ones I'll use.
I'm going to give you 2. And I think if you're going to look for an upsetter, you have to look toward horses that come from stables like Kevin Attard and Mark Casse, because they dominate at Woodbine. And Baid Alina is a horse I have my eye on. He didn't show up in the plate trial last time out. They put Lasix on. They added Lasix last time out. It didn't really help. He ends up finishing 6th behind Highway to the Moon. He's going to get a rematch with a bunch of those horses here today. But when you look at his sprint races, the 2 races before, they thought enough of this horse, Kevin Attard did, to put him into the display stakes. A stakes in his very first race. He ends up finishing 3rd, beaten just a half a length. Now, that was only 7 furlongs. Comes back in his 3-year-old debut this year, June 28th. And runs a bang-up race, comes flying from off the pace to get up and win, break his maiden by a head. Then they put him in the plate trial. Things don't go his way. Now, there are a lot of question marks. That's why he's 30-1, but also offers some tremendous value. Has to prove that he can get the mile and a quarter. Has to prove that he can route because his sprint races were so good. The other thing I like is that the late pace numbers on the brisk pass performances for Baid Alina, number 3, were fantastic in the 2 sprints. If he can find a way to duplicate that, sit off the pace, I think he's very, very dangerous at what could be a massive price. And then Mark Casse sends out Military Time, consistent, has raced 6 times, 2 wins, 2 seconds, and a third in the plate trial. Blinkers go on here today. I can see Military Time having an impact in here.
I could too, and he's one that I don't think will be 12-1 just because he has been so well bet in all of his lifetime races. You can see he was the longest price of his life last time, and it was a shade under 3-1. So I'm not counting on 12-1. I'm counting on an even better price today. But Military Time has had some pretty good setups, so maybe the blinkers are going to be the final piece of the puzzle for him. It's just I wouldn't take too short of a price. Military Time has been facing this sort of competition and not always beating them, so just hesitate a little bit when it comes to the board with him.
All right, Hall of Famer John Velazquez set to join us in just a few minutes right after your Legends of the Turf and this short commercial break. Stay tuned for that conversation.
For want of a nail, a shoe was lost. For want of a shoe, a race was lost. This is a story of the tragic demise of a thoroughbred who was thought by some to have been the greatest horse ever to don a set of racing plates. He raced in the colors of Darby Dan Farm and was trained by Lloyd Gentry. He was the son of Rebo out of Flower Bowl by Alibi, and by late April of his 3-year-old campaign had become the solid choice for the Kentucky Derby. He was a big, rock-solid colt who had muscles that literally rippled with raw power. In terms of conformation, he was some kind of a thoroughbred specimen. He won his first 7 races by an average margin of 5.5 lengths and never had a rival finish closer than 4 lengths to him. Incredible! He'd never gone over 7/8 of a mile in any of his wins until the Bluegrass Stakes at Keeneland on April 28, 1966. In that race, he was beaten a bare nostril by the very good Abe's Hope, but, as it turned out, that was his greatest performance of an abbreviated career, which in fact ended with that race. He had run the final 5 furlongs of that race on a sloppy racetrack on what amounted to 3 legs and a mountain of courage. That story well worth recounting. He had been reshod April 21st, 1 week before the Bluegrass, after he had been plated by one farrier. Another put a new bar shoe on his left hind foot, which he had bruised in Florida. It appeared he might be carrying that foot a bit high on Sunday, April 24th, when he worked 1 mile and 1:40, and his stride was a measured one. Veteran horsemen well know that when a horse goes bad behind, it usually means trouble up front somewhere down the line. On April 27th, the morning before the Bluegrass, he worked 3/8 and 33 4 on a sloppy track. To the careful observer, it was apparent he was off a bit on his left front as he trotted back to the barn to be cooled out. In the Bluegrass the next afternoon, he broke like a cannon shot and was 6 in front going around the clubhouse turn. At just about the 5/8 pole, he took a noticeably bad step, almost stopping in midair as a matter of fact, and from that point on he continued on nothing more than sheer, pure, raw courage. You see, at that point of the misstep, he had fractured the wing of the coffin bone in his left forefoot, as it was discovered later. Braulio Baeza, the cool Panamanian who rode him in 6 of his 7 wins, said, quote, "He went around the turn fairly good, but as soon as he got into the straightaway on the backside, he tried to run out, which in fact hurt or sore horses are prone to do. Quote, I tapped him on the shoulder a couple of times trying to keep him straight, but he tried to get out all the way down the backside, and he was still trying to get out after the race," unquote. In that race, he galloped out 1.25 miles in 2:03 2. On Sunday, May 1st, 6 days before the Kentucky Derby, the fracture showed up in x-rays. And not only was he subsequently withdrawn from the Run for the Roses, but his racing career was at an end. That marvelous thoroughbred who later went on to outstanding seasons of production in the breeding shed and who was, in some observers' eyes, the very best to ever grace American racetracks was Graustark. His story is indeed a tragic yet memorable moment in thoroughbred racing.
Race the TwinSpires, where you can unlock a $25 risk-free bet. Just use the code HRRN25 when you sign up. And if your first bet doesn't win, TwinSpires will refund your account up to $25. Wagering on the app is fast with free past performances, insider picks, and power plays every day you wager. TwinSpires. Download the app today to earn your $25 risk-free bet. Void where prohibited. For terms and conditions, visit TwinSpires.com. Must be 18 or older, 21 and older where applicable. For help with a gambling problem, call 1-800-GAMBLER.
Get ready for the biggest night of the year at Charlestown on Friday, August 28th. It's the Grade 2 $1 million Charlestown Classic and the Grade 2 $750,000 Charlestown Oaks, the richest sprint race for 3-year-old fillies in North America. The spectacular card features 9 stakes races worth over $2.7 million. The action gets started with a special first post time of 5 o'clock Eastern. It's the Grade 2 Charlestown Classic and Grade 2 Charlestown Oaks on Friday, August 28th here at Hollywood Casino at Charlestown Races.
It's time now to shine the spotlight on the Darley Taking the Reins Performer of the Week.
Sovereignty bearing down in the middle of the racetrack and coming at her, and Sovereignty with a devastating stretch kick has taken control of the Whitney. Nitrogen, Antiquarian, and all the others left in the wake of Sovereignty, who's back on top, strolling in to win the Whitney by over 5 lengths.
That's Horse of the Year and future Darley Stallion Sovereignty returning to the winner's circle in last weekend's Whitney, capturing the historic race by almost 5 lengths to become the first horse ever to win the Kentucky Derby, the Travers, and the Whitney. Sovereignty earned a 112 buyer with that dominating win, which makes him your Darley Taking the Reins Performer of the Week. Learn more about all the Darley Stallions by visiting DarleyAmerica.com.
Live racing is back at Ellis Park Racing and Gaming. The 25-day summer racing season runs through August 23rd with racing every Friday through Sunday throughout the summer with a daily first post of 11:55 a.m. Central, featuring many of racing's top trainers and jockeys and a record $4.125 million stake schedule across 18 races, including the Summer Showcase Weekend August 1st and 2nd and the Ellis Park Derby Day August 9th. You won't want to miss summer racing at Ellis Park. For more information, visit ellisparkowensborogaming.com.
You're listening to the Equine Forum on HRRN, presented by TwinSpires.
And Wonder Godot joins Telekinesis in the Queen's Plate, and splitting them is Cooler Mike, and down the outside running on is also ahead by a Century. Wonder Godot's in front and she's dashed away in the Queen's Plate, ahead by a Century into second. But there's no doubt who's the best today, and it's all about Wonder Godot, Wonder Woman herself, demolishes them in the Queen's Plate. What a brilliant win. Ahead by a Century second. Cooler Mike third, Strike Me Down fourth, Telekinesis was fifth.
Welcome back to the Equine Forum, presented by TwinSpires. Robert Geller had the call to the Queen's Plate, won by Wonder Godot, the race now known as the King's Plate, of course. And who was aboard Wonder Godot that day? The Hall of Famer, John Velazquez. He's looking for another win in the King's Plate coming up Saturday afternoon when he gets a leg up from fellow Hall of Famer Josie Carroll aboard the morning line favorite Luster. Johnny has mounts in 5 of the 6 stakes at Woodbine on Saturday afternoon, so he will be a very busy man, as he typically is on these big days, and he joins us now for a few minutes here this morning. Johnny, appreciate the time as always.
Thank you for having me.
Luster is a filly that you've been aboard a couple of times, and both times she has been ultra impressive. What do you feel underneath you when you're aboard her?
She's awesome, to tell you the truth. The only thing that she's pretty aggressive at the first part of the race. Hopefully she gets to relax a little bit the first part of the race, because I mean it's a little bit longer than normally she's running. So she's done everything pretty easily. So I just hope that she can do that now with the Colts.
Yeah, she'll face the boys, and of course, she has to do it from the inside post in the field of 12. Talk about breaking from the inside, not just in this race, but any race. What do you have to be mindful of when you step into the gate with her?
Well, it's like everything. You got to do homework. Who has speed? Who doesn't have speed? I mean, you got post one. You're going to be there a long time. Hopefully, she behaves in the gate and breaks well. To tell you the truth, I mean, I don't really mind where she lands as long she actually gets to relax, because when she gets close to the lead or close to the horses in front, she gets pretty aggressive. So hopefully she just gets to relax the first part.
Do you think that the inside draw might help her relax a little bit in that? Just that you have to be behind horses. How long do you think that she needs to relax before you can let her go in a race at 1.25 miles?
Well, the whole thing with her is that if somebody's next to you, chirping, making the horse go, trying to, get close to the lead, she's get very aggressive. So I'm hoping that I don't have someone next to me, trying to go and make it very rank. So the whole thing with her is hopefully that I can get it to relax the first part of the race, and I think she'll be much better for the end of the race.
Johnny, how does a jockey get a horse to relax during the running of a race? What are some of the things you have to do?
Well, I know her well, so I don't do very much in the post parade with her, So I try to keep her as calm as possible. Last time, she was pretty sharp, and there wasn't a lot of speed in the race. So I just barely did anything with her in the post parade. It's a long post parade from where we leave the paddock all the way to the track. It's a lot of jogging, through the tunnel up to the paddock track and warming up. So after that, I try to keep it as calm as possible. Once we do the post parade and you start doing the warm up, like I said, I just try to do as less possible to her, and hopefully that works.
Yeah, her win last time out in the Woodbine Oaks was 1 1/8 miles. That was on July 19th. She handled that assignment beautifully, drawing off to win by 5.5. Now she goes 1.25 miles against the boys. Did you get a sense that the extra distance will not be an issue for this filly?
The way she won, obviously, she was very impressive. My job is try to save that, that energy that she had the way she won last time out. So the way she did it, she was pretty easy, though, to tell you the truth. I just hope that I can save that against the Colts, yeah.
Now, I don't want to get too far ahead of myself, but because you do know Luster so well, and I get the opportunity to ask you, what do you think her prospects would be on the dirt if she were to try that someday?
To tell you, I don't know. I never worked it on the dirt or anything like that. But she's very smooth, the horse, when she's running, though, and I don't think she'll have a problem. But we don't know until they run on it, though,
Okay. I think that she's going to have a great race today. I love her in the King's Plate, so I'm on your side with this. And I'm looking a little bit to the future, too, because there's options with the filly with this kind of ability. But what has Josie told you about her from the first time that you rode her down at Keeneland until the Woodbine Oaks? How has her 3-year-old year gone for her?
From the first time I got on it, she really liked the horse, and she was pretty high on it, though, Obviously, she won very nicely at Keeneland, and then I didn't see her back until last time I rode her. So one of the things, I mean, she's always liked the filly from the beginning, and the way she ran last time, and she was very impressive. It was very, very nice to go back and ride her, and the way she won, I was very pleased with the way she.
Hall of Famer John Velazquez with us here on the Equine Forum, presented by TwinSpires on HRRN. Johnny, because of the fact that Angela brought up Josie Carroll, I'll stay there for a minute. You'll get a leg up from the Hall of Famer. You've gotten a leg up from another Hall of Famer many, many times in your career, and that's your good friend Todd Pletcher. He just recorded his 6,000 win milestone last Saturday at Saratoga when Versailles Road captured the final race on that program. Just put into perspective, you've been a big part of those 6,000 wins. Put into perspective, what makes Todd Pletcher so good?
Probably one of the greatest trained to work with, this is just what he makes him so special, though, and he gave you a lot of confidence, when you're riding for him, you get a lot of confidence, and also the confidence for you to choose when you have to do, though, and I think that's how it works so good for him and whatever rides for him. I mean, for me and him, we talk about the races, we do the homework, and things have to change. Once the gates open, it's me and the horse, and I have to make the decisions then. and it has worked for us. And when you make decisions out there, they give you the confidence to change it as you go. And come back and we'll talk about it. Whether you win or lose, it doesn't work, or I think that I did something wrong. It's like, well, I have a changeables, but it didn't work, and I think I messed it up. So, and you'll get your opinion from him or opinion from the horse, what we can do for next time, make it better for the horse. And I think the communication between trainer and jockey has to stay at that level, that you get the confidence that the trainer, when you come back, the feedback and everything is very good. And I think that's what has worked for him. Obviously, he knows his horse very well. He watches the races really good too. So he's one of those trainers that watch every detail in the race. So you better come back and have some feedback and don't try to lie.
Well, you both watch the races meticulously, and I know you and I have talked about this before in your preparation. Todd obviously prepares in a similar fashion. Do you ever sit down with Todd, maybe leading up to a big race like the Kentucky Derby, for example? Do you ever sit down with him and do I'll call it a film study session where you're watching replays of horses together?
No, we never done that.
Okay.
No, the whole thing, because I know he watched everything really well. He knows that I do study the race really well, and we throw things at each other. What we think the anticipation of the race is going to look like, and after that, really, it's up to me though, and I think that's why it works so well with us, because things changes so quickly in the race that I had to make the decisions though. After we do our opinions and anticipation what's going to happen in the race, and then it's me and the horse. So you are your own making the decision then.
Johnny, what do you remember about the first time you met Todd Pletcher and started riding for him?
Well, I know Todd since he started. He was working for Wayne Lucas. He was assistant trainer, and I was riding some horses for him in the winter. We got pretty lucky and won a couple of races for Wayne while he was working there. And then when he went out on his own 96, I think it was. 95, 96, and then by the time I was 1998, my Angel became my agent. He was doing pretty well, growing. Angel said to Todd, "Man, you the upcoming trainer. I got the coming jockey. You guys need to get together." We wanted stake for him, another horse, and all of a sudden, started riding most of the horses for him. So, again, we kind of clicked together. So it's an incredible, to get two guys young and get together and start doing what we did. As he's getting more horses and me, getting more chances to ride these kind of horses. So we kind of grew together, and what accomplishment for both of us, for him to win 6,000 races and me being part of it. So I'm very, very blessed to be part of the team.
It's always important to find good teams in racing, and you too. One comes with the other when it comes to the winner's circle. And speaking of the winner's circle, you're going to be up for King's Plate weekend this weekend. Last weekend, second in a huge effort aboard Nitrogen in the Whitney, and then you go over to West Virginia and win the West Virginia Derby. And that's just scratching the surface of your summer. What is the summer of 2026 going to look like to you? What's going to stand out to you when you look back?
To tell you, I don't know. I'm waiting to see the fall, how the fall goes, and going to the Breeders' Cup, and hopefully we get there, and we get a couple of big races. That's basically the way I look at it. I'm always looking for the future and see what keeps me excited, and obviously getting to ride these horses is what keeps me here. I thought, and hopefully by the end of the year, I can look back and say, well, that was a really good year.
Johnny, the day before Todd Pletcher won that milestone career victory, number 6,000, Manny Franco equaled the record number of wins on a single card at Saratoga, winning 6 of the 9 races he rode on that Friday afternoon. He's the second jockey this meet to equal the record. It's a record that you first achieved back on September 3rd, 2001. Ramon came back 11 years later and equaled the record. Now we've had 2 jockeys do it this meet. Incredible. Put that into perspective.
No, it's incredible to do that, and then just, obvious for me to do it for the first time ever. I mean, these guys have a lot of talent. They ride up for a lot of good trainers, and it's nice to see it though. Ramon was super hot when he did it too. I think he did it twice. And what a great talent Ramon had too though. He was incredible. And we have all these young riders doing the same thing now though. Although we have more racing now, and I think it's a little different, but. It's a hard task to get done here in Saratoga, because it's a very competitive meet, and these guys are showing their talent and obviously riding a lot of horses and doing what they do really well. So I enjoy watching these guys doing what I was doing, back in early 2000s all the way to mid 2000s. I was riding on a lot of races and I was doing what they're doing now. It's nice to see that though. You got to appreciate it.
And what do the summers at Saratoga mean to you with all of those riders coming together and really making the most of it, the events that you guys do together? What do the summers up there mean to you?
They're really tough here. I gotta tell you that the summers are tough. They're very demanding, though. So it's not all roses, if you will. Though there's a lot of work, a lot of charters to do. Obviously, very competitive need. That's what we're here for. This is what we come for. To try to do well here in Saratoga and get a good horse out of here. There's a lot of good horses come out of here, and everybody is looking for something, though. And I think that's what makes Saratoga very special, and all these guys, including myself, trying to get something out of here. At least I'm not in the frame of mind that I want to be leading rider. I just want to, stay in the game, be happy, and hopefully get excited to get a good horse out of here, though. And that's the way I look at it. But it's a very demanding meet for sure. If you do well here, the rest of the year is pretty easy, I think.
Johnny, we are just less than 2 weeks removed from the passing of fellow rider Robbie Alvarado. And last week here on the program, we paid tribute to Robbie and his career and talked about him as a person. I got to know him years ago when I was working at Thoroughbred Times, before I even started on radio back in the 90s. When you hear the name Robbie Alvarado, what things come to mind?
Man, a great guy, a great rider. Robbie and I started riding against one another in the early 90s, I believe. I think it was 98, 91. So we see each other growing and get into the big leagues, if you will. And when I even came in here to New York, so I was basically learning how to ride. I didn't know very much about racing anyway. And then we both started doing really well in the mid-90s, like 94, 95, 96, so growing together and competing with one another, it was very exciting. And, obviously he was a very special rider and a very special friend, so he was one of those guys that you could go and talk to him and have a really great conversation and no animosity about anything, though, so we always give hard time to one another. And he took it. I took whatever he gave me. He took whatever I gave him, but we always remained really good friends, though, so he was a jokester all the time, too. He liked to give a hard time to people, so you knew when to take it, you know what I mean? So, but he had a great heart, for sure, though, he'll give you anything, whatever you needed. He was there for you. It's sad, the way it happens and passed away. So, I pray for him and his family every day now. So it's just really sad. It's a tragedy the way it happened too. So it's really sad.
Yeah, amen. He's certainly going to be missed. And like you, I got to spend some time with Robbie, not as much as you did, certainly, but getting an opportunity to be around him. And as you said, he liked to give it to you a little bit, but he could also take it, which was great.
Yeah, you got to take it. But you know what? But it's the funny thing, he never meant anything bad, though. You know what I mean? He was always just a joke and tried to give it to you and see how you take it. But, he had a really good heart, and it's sad to see him gone this early.
Yeah, it certainly is. Johnny, listen, want to wish you all the best coming up Saturday afternoon in the King's Plate and all the races you're going to ride at Woodbine. And as always, safe trip every single time you get a leg up, my friend.
Thank you so much, guys. Talk to you.
Appreciate it. John Velazquez, the Hall of Famer here on HRRN. I mean, Angela, you look at what Johnny has accomplished. You talked about Todd and that relationship, but you look at his career, and we've talked about it many, many times on the show. I mean, so much of that success came with Todd Pletcher, especially early on, and I loved hearing him say they kind of grew together. I thought that was the perfect way to put it.
I have my own, I guess, story to put to that, because I saw these two. I have VHS tape with both of those two really in their first feature in 98 and 99. I know I'm putting the year out there, but they were both featured together, and it is just so interesting that they have both taken that same trajectory to the top together, because really I think eyes were on them from the start, and they've both lived up to that potential, and they've done things the right way. So it's a pleasure to see them get to these milestones and do it as a team very often.
Sounds like he's quite confident in Luster as well.
How could you not be, especially if you've been aboard her for a couple of 5-length victories? I mean, that at least has to give you confidence going in. Of course, they have to run it. We'll see how she does handle herself. But boy, the talent is there, and I think that she's going to love every bit of what she's handed in the King's Plate today.
Yeah, and the key, as he said, getting her to relax during the running of the race. If you can get her to relax, she could be a handful down the lane.
Absolutely. I think that she will run all day. But if anybody is going to get her to relax and talk her into getting a 1.25 miles and doing it like a lady, it's definitely going to be Johnny Velazquez.
No doubt about it. Even money on the morning line in the King's Plate. Post time for that race, 6:12 Eastern, is race number 10 on the program Saturday afternoon. We'll get to a break. We'll come back with more. This is the Equine Forum on the Horse Racing Radio Network.
Woodford Feed, where tradition merges with technology. Family owned since 1940 and providing exceptional customer service, Woodford Feed specializes in the highest quality feed, using only the finest ingredients to ensure optimal nutrition for your horses. In addition, Woodford Feed can help with all your farm needs, including field seed, fertilizer, and weed control. So whether your horse is sprinting around the racetrack or has a foal by her side, count on Woodford Feed to provide the quality nutrition necessary to perform at the highest level. Woodford Feed for Sales, Kentucky.
All over America, people are taking the National Radon Test. Have you heard of radon?
Is that a gas?
Is it something that comes up out the ground or something?
It's like poison gas.
Something dangerous that you're supposed to check on to make sure it's not in your home.
Now it's your turn. Answer true or false. Radon is a radioactive gas. True. Radon is a radioactive gas. True or false? The Office of the Surgeon General recommends that all homes be tested for radon. True, your home should be tested.
I didn't know that, no.
True or false, radon is the second leading cause of lung cancer. True.
True, I didn't know that.
Radon is the second leading cause of lung cancer. Answer true or false. Homes with radon problems can be fixed. True. Homes with radon problems can be fixed.
So what do you do about it? I'm going to dial the number and call.
1-800-SOS-RADON.
If I don't take care of it, nobody else will.
Keep your family safe from radon. Call now.
1-800-SOS-RADON.
Half of young adults are at risk of hearing damage from loud sounds. So why is this happening? We know not to bake in the sun for hours and to get our eyes checked regularly. We buckle up to save lives. And we know that smoking kills. So do poor diet choices and poor life choices. But why are we so reckless with our hearing? We take hearing for granted. Hearing damage from loud sounds is permanent, but preventable. We take common sense steps for our health every day. Let's make hearing part of it. Wear earplugs. Turn it down. Give your ears a rest. Love your ears. Learn more at hearinghealthfoundation.org. Keep listening.
Want to get the latest HRRN content directly on your computer or mobile device? Then subscribe to our podcast using the Podbean app or Apple Podcasts. Just go to hrrn.podbean.com on your computer and click follow, or download the Podbean app and search HRRN. You can also find us on Apple Podcasts and listen to our latest episodes anytime. Don't miss a thing. Subscribe to our podcasts today. You're listening to the Equine Forum on HRRN, presented by TwinSpires.
Hanson turns in front in the plate trail. I'm Your Medicine Man and Highway to the Moon pitching in as they turn. And Highway to the Moon coming after Hanson. And down the outside, I'm Your Medicine Man. I'm Your Medicine Man has run up with Highway to the Moon to go to the front. Highway to the Moon in front. On the outside, I'm Your Medicine Man. And they'll battle it out. Highway to the Moon on the inside. Highway to the Moon. What a win. Highway to the Moon goes on to win the plate trial. A length to I'm Your Medicine Man, and Military Time got in for show. And then Cass and Don Eakin behind them by Idalina and Powell River. The rest headed by Fire and Wine. The time is 1:52.17.
Welcome back to the Equine Forum, presented by TwinSpires. Mike Penna, Baron of the Backstretch, Angela Herman, Countess of Canterbury. We are with you right up until 11 a.m. Eastern. That was Robert Geller with the call of the plate trial stakes at Woodbine. Won, as you just heard, by Highway to the Moon, who was third choice at 6-1 on the morning line in today's King's Plate. One of two horses in the race trained by Dale Desruisseaux, and he is set to join us in just a couple of minutes here. Kevin Attard, 9:20. Joe Withee, looking ahead to tomorrow's Longacres Mile at Emerald Downs, will be here at 9:40. So, Angela, still all kinds of racing conversation coming up.
I know we've already been at it for an hour, and it seems like we haven't even got part of the way through the equation that is the King's Plate. We still got a lot more territory to cover with that and other races on the Woodbine card, so let's get to it.
Poll question, which bet would you make in today's King's Plate at Woodbine? Gave you a couple of choices. You can bet Luster, the even money morning line favorite, or you could take the field. Everybody except for Luster, 55% of HRRN Nation saying they would take the field. And Angela, I told you at the top of the show when we threw this out there, that's the bet I would make here, even though I think Luster's the horse to beat. Listen, you give me 11 others against her, I'll take my chances.
Just by sheer numbers and the talent that's in the field against her. I don't blame you with that. I might not have put in my vote for Luster.
You disagree. Come on. Don't. You disagree. You think Luster is going to win by 20.
I'm being diplomatic here. I think she's going to blow the doors off this field. I do, but
there you go.
I just think that she's that good. I don't underestimate her competition, though, so I don't blame anybody that wants to take the field against her. There's some really nice horses in this group. She is just one of the best I've seen in a while up there.
Plenty of reasons to visit Lexington, Kentucky over the course of the next couple of months, including the Breeders' Cup coming up in October. But if you're going to be there for any reason, whether it's the Keeneland sale or maybe you're going to Kentucky Downs, whatever the case might be, check out Tony's of Lexington. I tell you about them every single week here on the show. I've been doing it for years, and it was my idea. I approached Tony Ricci. I said, Tony, this is the greatest steak I've ever had in my life, and I'm a steak and potatoes guy. Please let me talk about you on my show. And he has been doing it for many, many years, and it is a wonderful restaurant. The people are great. The food is exceptional. And you will be proud to take your clients and your friends and your family to Tony's of Lexington when you're in Central Kentucky. And by the way, if you're going to be at Kentucky Downs, there is a Tony's of Bowling Green as well that you can visit. Don't forget about that one. Tony's of Cincinnati, Tony's of Indianapolis. They do a fantastic job wherever your travels might take you. So make sure you do that. All right, coming up next, it's hour number 2. We're back with that right after this 10-second pause for station identification. This is the Horse Racing Radio Network, where racing comes to talk.
This is the Equine Forum, presented by TwinSpires.
1 hour in the books, 2 to go. Lots of conversation about the King's Plate, about tomorrow's Longacres Mile at Emerald Downs. And then Vance Hanson will join us to kick off hour 3 at 10 o'clock Eastern. And he's going to look at some races from Saratoga, including that win and you're in Christophe Clement Stakes, which is a grade 1, formerly the Sword Dancer. We'll talk to Vance and get his thoughts on that race and a couple of others. Early post at Ellis Park today because of the hot weather in Henderson, Kentucky. Keep that in mind if you're going to be playing Ellis. First post, 11 a.m. Eastern time. So, and Angela, we've been talking King's Plate. We're going to continue to do so. Dale Desruisseaux set to join us in just a few minutes. We'll talk to him about his 2 horses. But what an what an unbelievable afternoon of racing as it typically is.
Yes, it is, with the wagers to go with it, too. There's a $5 stakes pick 3 in amongst this card. The betting options go along with the quality of the races. So if you haven't done your homework for Woodbine, you might want to start about an hour ago, because there's a lot to pour through and a lot of horses that you're going to have to really hone down to try to narrow down some of those tickets. It's not easy.
Dale Desruisseaux owned a pizza restaurant when he was just 18 years old. He then went on to own a yearling at a sale. He bought a yearling at a sale. That was his first horse. And now here he is with an opportunity to win Canada's most iconic horse race, the King's Plate, and he has 2 chances to do it. Highway to the Moon is the plate trial winner. And Dixie Law, his other horse, the other filly in the race. Dale, I almost butchered the whole introduction, but man, welcome to the show, my friend.
Thanks for having me.
I'm thinking Dixie Law. That's the name of the filly. I think everybody might know her name after the King's Plate, huh?
Hopefully. I mean, look, Josie's filly, Lester from the Inside, is obviously a very, very nice filly. She's deservingly, the even money favorite for the morning line. But it's a horse race, and when you're not in it, you can't win it. So.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's the thing. Not only does she have to take on the boys, but she has to make up 5.5 lengths on even money favorite Luster. What's the key to her doing that today?
Yeah, I think it's going to be all about trip. Lester drew the inside post position, so Johnny's obviously very capable rider and probably will get her in a good spot. But hopefully, maybe she breaks a step slow and gets pinned in or something. If she runs her A game, it looks like we're running for second. But we're hoping either she doesn't bring her A game or she doesn't get the best trip.
Yeah, that Velazquez guy, he can ride a little bit.
Yeah, a little bit. Yeah.
Once he figures this game out, he's going to be okay.
Yeah.
But you give a leg up to Pietro Moran. He's another young, up-and-coming star in the sport. Tell me about why he's a good fit for Dixie Law.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I'm blessed. I got two good riders on both of my horses. Pietro's, really nice kid and been working his butt off to get where he is today. And obviously it's showing in the results.
Now, you have a couple in here. You do have the filly, and you also have the winner of the plate trial. And Highway to the Moon in that race did show a little bit more rateability. So tell us about his trip, how he came out of it, and what you expect from him today.
Yeah, I mean, look, we didn't even have him eligible for the plate. We thought he was a one-turn kind of horse. And, up here in Canada, there's kind of a progression of series of races for the 3-year-old Canadian-bred horses. So once he went through the sprinting ones, there was kind of really no option to run him anywhere else other than giving him that shot of stretching out. So I talked with Rafi in the morning that day, and I said, look, I'm questionable on the distance, and so was he. So I think, we both discussed it and thought the only shot that we had him if we got him in behind hot horses and he relaxed, and he did that very well.
I have a unique question for you because you do have the colt in here and you do have the filly coming through. And you mentioned the races that they go through to get to this point. There's a certain set of races. What are your impressions of the colts in this generation and the fillies as a result, since you've seen both series leading up to it?
Yeah, I mean, if you look at numbers, if you're a numbers guy, I mean, obviously the fillies look better. I mean, even my filly, Dixie Law, she's probably second choice if you're a numbers person. So it kind of looks like they're the stronger hand over the boys. But, we're going to a new distance that none of them have run. So, does one improve or one digress going longer? So, it's going to be an interesting race.
Dale, I remember you and I spending some time together on my Trainer Talk program before the plate trial. It worked out well, so I said, man, I got to get you back on because you had one hell of a day after we did that interview. Maybe it follows suit, but you talked about the fact that Highway to the Moon is a horse you thought, and you just mentioned it, thought had distance limitations. Well, after he won the plate trial, and he did it impressively, I'm thinking, Dale Desruisseaux just cold-watered me on this horse. What's up with that?
Yeah, I mean, I wish I knew too. I mean, I'm going to go with the same MO. I'm going to keep on letting him prove me wrong. I'm not going to say, he's going to get the distance now that I'm jumping on the bandwagon. But if he keeps on proving me wrong, I'll be one happy camper.
How awesome would it be to win it for Centennial Farms?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, big supporters of mine. Same with Dixie Law's owners. They've been big supporters of mine for the last couple of years, and they've invested a lot of money in the game. Been in the game a long time, and both deserving to win the race.
Okay, so part of the ideal King's Plate goes with Luster stubbing her toe a little bit and breaking slow on the inside. But in your mind, draw up this King's Plate for both of your horses, how you would love to see it go for them.
I mean, obviously we're both outside of them with her being in the one hole. So, if she does break slow, or even if there was some other inside speed that went and she wanted to stalk, I'm hoping that we can get outside pressure on her and either keep her in or at least be able to make the same run that she runs.
And which one do you think will be closer to the pace? Do you think the filly will, or do you think that Highway to the Moon will go back up and maybe engage the leaders early?
I mean, like I said before, I think Highway is better covered up. I think when he sees daylight, he gets a little aggressive. So, I mean, with him drawn outside of both of mine and her, Rafi's probably going to have to take it back a little bit more. Dixie, it just all depends on how she breaks. Sometimes she breaks a little slow. Sometimes, she breaks up there. I'm just going to kind of leave it to the hands of the riders. They're both very capable riders, and they, we both talked about it this morning with them. They both came by, and it's just, I think it's going to be who gets the trip and who's the best horse today.
Dale, take me inside the barn a little bit here. You mentioned that both riders came by the barn this morning. You had a conversation with them about the race. What did those conversations look like on a big day like this?
Yeah, I mean, I don't think you want to keep on giving them too many instructions. I mean, as trainers, we have an idea of kind of how the race wants to play out. But, I mean, once the gates break, it's usually a different scenario what you got going on in your head anyway. So they're both very capable riders. They're, leading riders here at Woodbine and know the track, and they both know the horses. And I think they both do a lot of studying on the form and can make out a trip on their own.
The 1.25 miles, much like it would be in the Kentucky Derby, is always a question mark for these 3-year-olds, and I get that they're further along in their development here in August than they are on the first Saturday in May in the States. But Highway to the Moon obviously still has to prove that distance question is something he can continue to answer now that it's even longer at 1.25 miles. Dixie Law has run well at longer distances. What do you see from each of them that's giving you confidence that today's distance won't be an issue?
Yeah, I mean, both of them, like Dixie, I don't think I've ever been kind of concerned about distance. That's one of her big attributes is she recovers so well. So it's just going to be whether she's good enough. Highway, like I said before, I didn't think he was going to get the distance, and he's been the type of horse that in the morning times he only really does what he kind of has to do. If he's breezing with somebody that wants to go quick, he'll go quick, and if he's breezing with somebody that goes slow, he'll go slow. So, last race, was there more in the tank if another horse came to him, or if that horse outside of him kept on battling? I'm hoping so, but I don't think he was all out. I think he's never going to be a horse that wins by 10 lengths or anything like that. So I'm hoping, even if the competition is a little bit better, whether it's Lester or anybody else, he can hang tough with them.
I'm glad to get your insight on the King's Plate, and I got to ask you about another horse that you have entered in a couple of stakes. Which race is GT 500 going to go in, and how do you see maybe his day setting up in whichever race he's going to go? Because, he completed a nice double with Lester the last time that he ran. I was happy about that one that day. So how's he coming into this race, and where's he going to go?
Yeah, he's doing really well. I talked with the owners the last couple of days since entry day. The Bold Venture is probably a little bit easier spot number-wise, but I don't think he gets quite the setup that we're looking for in that race. So we're going to go to the King Eddie. It's probably a little bit tougher, even though it's a little bit smaller field. But I think just there's a couple horses that want to be on the lead, and he can get a stalking trip like he did last time. And with the blinkers off that I took last time, I think he settled really well. And even Jose that rode him last time said when Irish Aces came to him, he didn't feel like he was going by him at all at any point in the race. So I'm not really concerned about the mile either.
Dale, Jeff Bratt, Woodbine handicapper, joined us earlier in the first hour of the program, and he also referred to the King Edward as the King Eddie. I don't know if I've ever heard that before. Is that a Canadian thing?
It must be. I don't know. We like to put format or what? I don't know. But
all right, before I let you go, complete this sentence for me.
Yep.
To win the King's Plate would be what?
Yeah, I think it's a dream. I think of any Canadian trainer, I think if you ask them what race they'd want to win, it's the King's Plate. So to be able to go into the race with a couple, I think, pretty good shots of doing it, it's a pretty exciting day.
Okay, I lied. One more question. How are you keeping yourself relaxed and composed on a big day like this?
Yeah, trying to treat it just like a normal race. Probably the nerves will get to me once we start getting ready and getting over, but we're through the first part of it now of, the morning's gone well and everybody ate up last night and and they look in good order. So, step one done, and step two is wait until whatever time it is, 6 o'clock, before we get ready. So we got a while to wait, and then I'm sure the nerves will be racking up then.
Well, Dale, listen, man, all the best. You got a couple of chances to bring it home. I hope you can find a way to do it, buddy. So good luck in all those races today, not just the King Eddie and the King's Plate.
I appreciate it, and if I happen to get lucky, you better be calling me next week whenever there's a race.
I'll call you, but I'll call you every Saturday. Don't worry about it.
Perfect.
All right, thanks, Dale.
Appreciate it. Thank you.
Dale Desruisseaux here with us. Yeah, after he appeared on Trainer Talk, and that was a Trainer Talk, Angela. I don't know if you remember this. I think we talked about it, but it was Dale Desruisseaux and Lindsay Schultz, and Lindsay came back and won the Haskell right after that conversation. And then Dale comes back and wins 2 out of 3 stakes races, including Highway to the Moon, taking the plate trial right after he came on the show. It might have been the greatest Trainer Talk of all time.
There's been some good bounces out of Trainer Talk lately. Maybe you'll start getting some requests to come onto the show instead of you having to call them. I think that might be something you're going to have to plug to some trainers out there. Look what's happened. We have results. We need to get some sort of stat sheet out there for Trainer Talk. It's had a good hit rate lately.
What do they say? Even a blind squirrel finds a nut once in a while?
Well, who's the blind squirrel in the equation? That's got to be you and me.
Hey, Team Mush is the name of my team in the showdown, so I think that qualifies me as a blind squirrel.
Well, Nisos and White Abario being on the team, they've departed.
Isn't that brutal?
It happens.
It's
going to happen to each of us too throughout the year. You just took the first couple of hits for us, and thank you very much for that, Mike.
Yeah, my 2 of my 7 horses have been retired, so I'm down to my initial 5, and that's what we play with. We play with 5 horses in this showdown competition. So I've got to ride them out, and hopefully everybody stays healthy and keeps running the way I expect them to. We'll find out. Angela, you have an update on the Mojo Racing Impossible trivia question.
It's another dang near impossible one, but we're going to give it a shot, aren't we, Lee? All right. How many fillies have won the Canadian Triple Crown? Who were they? And in what years did they win the Canadian Triple Crown? No Googling. It's a toughie.
Yeah, the answer comes up right around 10:55 Eastern before we wind things down. Okay, Dale Desruisseaux was fantastic. You know who else is pretty good? This guy named Kevin Attard. We're going to talk to him about his dominance of the King's Plate when we return. This is the Equine Forum, presented by TwinSpires on HRRN.
Race to TwinSpires, where you can unlock a $25 risk-free bet. Just use the code HRRN25 when you sign up. And if your first bet doesn't win, TwinSpires will refund your account up to $25. Wagering on the app is fast with free past performances, insider picks, and power plays every day you wager. TwinSpires. Download the app today to earn your $25 risk-free bet. Void where prohibited. For terms and conditions, visit TwinSpires.com. Must be 18 or older, 21 and older where applicable. For help with a gambling problem, call 1-800-GAMBLER.
Join us at Kentucky Downs August 29th through September 9th, showcasing 7 days of racing with $37 million in purses, including $17.9 million in KTDF purses for Kentucky breds and the $3 million Nashville Derby on Saturday, September 5th. America's richest and only all-turf meet, hosting 2 Breeders' Cup Win and You're In races. Reserved seats on sale at themintkentuckydowns.com. There's unique, and there's Kentucky Downs.
The National HBPA is continuously working to protect the health and welfare of horses by advocating and funding research to help reduce equine injuries, lobbying for a national testing lab to oversee and establish absolute uniform laboratory protocols, advocating for every track to undergo an annual independent surface assessment, passionately supporting off-the-track thoroughbred retirement facilities and adoption groups, and so much more. See additional HBPA initiatives at nationalhbpa.com.
Get ready for the biggest night of the year at Charlestown on Friday, August 28th. It's the Grade 2 $1 million Charlestown Classic and the Grade 2 $750,000 Charlestown Oaks, the richest sprint race for 3-year-old fillies in North America. The spectacular card features 9 stakes races worth over $2.7 million. The action gets started with a special first post time of 5 o'clock Eastern. It's the Grade 2 Charlestown Classic and Grade 2 Charlestown Oaks on Friday, August 28th here at Hollywood Casino at Charlestown Races.
Monmouth Park is your place to play this summer with a 15% takeout on all doubles and pick threes, including a $5 late double and a $3 late pick three. And don't miss these exciting upcoming handicapping contests. The $500 Monmouth Saratoga contest on Whitney Day, Saturday, August 8th, and the $800 Monmouth Saratoga contest on Travers Day, August 29th. Contests award a combination of BCBC seats, NHC seats, and cash. It's all happening at Monmouth Park.
You're listening to the Equine Forum on HRRN, presented by TwinSpires.
They're bunched up, and now Man City sprints for home. Man City, 2 in front, Scorching in second, DeWolf third, Mythical Man and No Time in behind them, and trying to run home is Notorious Gangster and Faber trying to get a run as they corner in the King's Plate. Man City being chased home by Scorching. Man City by 3 lengths, Scorching in second, and then came DeWolf, but it is all Man City and Scorching. The only danger at the moment, Man City by 4 lengths to Scorching, and then Notorious Gangster, and out wide on the track, Tom's Magic, and Man City coming down to the wire. What a gate to wire winner. Man City and Pierre Clement win.
Mike Penna, Angela Herman, back with you on the Equine Forum, presented by TwinSpires. Robert Geller, the voice of Woodbine, with the call of last year's King's Plate, won by Man City, which was the second consecutive win in the King's Plate for trainer Kevin Attard, and he's really dominated the race over the past few years. He's won it 3 of the past 4 seasons, and he's looking to add to that resume later today. He has a couple of chances to do it. He joins us now here on HRRN. Kevin, good morning.
Good morning. Thanks for having me on.
3 of the past 4 runnings. What makes the King's Plate so easy to win?
Tell me that 4 or 5 years ago. Nah, I've obviously been very fortunate the last few years to just have the right horses. But it's been a long road to get here, and every year we look to try to compete in it and try to win it.
Do you get to the point where when you start tasting the success, it becomes almost like an addiction? You need it. You need to keep winning and winning. I mean, everybody likes to win the King's Plate, right? But now that you've done it 3 out of 4 times, would it be difficult not to have a horse in the race?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
When the crop of 2-year-olds start to arrive, you start kind of looking through and you kind of pick out which ones are the Canadian breds, and then you look at them and you wonder and you hope, could this one be the one next year in a sense, right? So, that's the program here at the barn now is kind of designed to, to kind of compete in those Canadian bred races, and obviously the Woodbine Oaks and the King's Plate are 2 of the premier races that we eye each season.
Kevin, fillies have won 39 renewals of the King's Plate. You've been responsible for 2 of those, with Moira in 2022, your first King's Plate win, and then Caitlin, her greatness in 2024. We have a filly as the even money morning line favorite today. Why have fillies had so much success?
Yeah, we've just had a good crop of Canadian bred fillies, to be quite honest. I think that's the bottom line. The spacing between the Oaks and the Plate is enough time where they can kind of bounce back. And, you look at the past winners, and they've been fillies that have gone on to be successful afterwards and hold good careers. So I just think the crop of fillies has just been pretty strong, and it's, the timing works out perfectly.
Hey, Kevin, Angela Herman here from Canterbury. And, of course, I know the owners of Man City quite well, friends of mine, Al and Bill Ulwelling. And I was really loving that edition, listening to it back last year. But this year, you have a couple of horses. Do they remind you at all of any of your previous winners that you've had in recent times? You have a couple of long shots, but do either one of them remind you of some of the horses that have seen the winner's circle in the King's Plate?
Not really. These 2 individuals are a lot different than the last ones. The last few winners have obviously been a lot more accomplished to this point in their careers, right? These guys, one is a maiden, one just broke his maiden. So, they're getting the class test today. And rightfully, I think they have the qualities and the characteristics to become plate winners with a little bit of luck and the right trip.
Kevin, I picked Baid Alina as one of my upsetters in here, and I know that it's a tall order, but, man, he showed a lot of ability. You thought enough of him early on to put him in a stakes race right off the bat. Then he breaks his maiden, and things didn't go his way in the plate trial. Tell me more about what you're seeing from Baid Alina.
Yeah, I've always liked him right from the get-go. As you alluded to, we ran him in a stake first time out. He came running very late, showed a little bit of greenness, and, wasn't too far off of getting his maiden broke right off the bat in a sense. So, we regrouped, brought him back this year. He had a really troubled first time out trip, still overcame that and won. So last time in the plate trial, it was a big demand for, breaking out of the 12 hole, asking him to go 1.8 miles in the second start for the season. So I think he gained a lot out of that. He's come back to work well in the interim. To me, he's a horse that should relish the distance. So, I think we just need to get him to settle early, put him in a good place, and hopefully just get a clean trip and he'll come running.
Yeah, what happened in the plate trial, Kevin? What didn't go his way?
Well, he was in a good spot considering he broke out of the 12 post. I thought Pietro did a good job kind of getting him to save some ground. We were, I think we may have been a little bit closer to a faster pace than ideal. But just about 2.5 furlongs out, he kind of got bounced around a little bit, and I think that kind of knocked the wind out of him a little bit and kind of took his run away from him. And he just kind of ran evenly from that point on. So, I'm expecting him today to kind of just improve off of that effort. Now that he's got some experience going around 2 turns, it should benefit him well.
And Very Special did scratch out of the plate trial at the gate, but he's getting blinkers on today, and he's shown some promise in his recent maiden special weight efforts. What do you expect from him today?
Yeah, he's another colt that's doing really well. I think 10 furlongs is going to be ideal for him. He's another horse that's had some rough luck. Kind of broke poorly last time he ran, had to check a little bit, got stalled at the quarter pole. He kind of runs a little green and almost kind of spotty as well. So we're adding blinkers. Obviously we were hoping to have them on for him in the plate trial and see how he kind of coped with them on. Unfortunately, that didn't transpire. So, today he's going to wear them for the first time. But he's very tactical. I think he can be close to the pace if necessary. If it's a faster pace, he's been really easy to ride and from that point of view. So I expect him to come with a big run.
This would be one heck of a way to break his maiden, wouldn't it?
Definitely would. It's happened in the past, and we're going to try to repeat history.
You put blinkers on. Talk a little bit about that.
Just want to keep him a little bit more focused. He seems to kind of run a little bit on and off. Seems like he's got dead aim on horses and then just kind of lumbers a bit. So hoping that the addition of the blinkers keeps him a little bit more keen, a little focused through the stretch. There's obviously, going to be a lot of people here today. The grandstand's going to be loud. You want them to kind of be focused throughout the stretch, and that's the whole idea behind it. So.
He's by Ghost Sapper out of an Into Mischief mare. It would certainly be nice if Very Special had some pedigree, huh?
Yeah, he definitely has the pedigree to go this distance. Moyer was by Ghost Sapper's. Ghost Sapper's done well in this race. So very excited with his pedigree, obviously, and the demands of the 10 furlong. So.
One more question about Baid Alina, and then I want to move on to talking about some of your other stakes contenders coming up later today. But Baid Alina, 2 out of the 3 starts has been ridden by your man Pietro Moran, who, of course, was aboard your winner last year in the King's Plate. You lose him. Sahin Savici will take over. You lose Pietro to the filly, Dixie Law. Did you sit down with Pietro and say, come on, man, we're the defending champions. Let's try to go back to back.
I'm going to let the horse do the talking, and hopefully afterwards Pietro will come up to me and say, I'm sorry, I just picked the wrong one. So, It's obviously it's part of the game. Everybody's trying to get on the best horse, what they kind of think. Those are decisions made between the jockey and their agents. Obviously with Savachi, I think we've got a very capable replacement, and, he's looking for his first plate, so why not?
Well, the King's Plate is not the only race that's going on this big day. There's 13 of them and a lot of 2-year-olds involved. And you hinted at some of the 2-year-olds that give you hope for the future. And you've got quite a few of them running, from maidens, you got the Soaring Free, and you got the Catch a Glimpse. Touch on some of the 2-year-olds you're looking forward to seeing today.
Yeah, we deal with a lot of young horses, and obviously today's a big day for us. Some of the horses, obviously in the Soaring Free and Catch a Glimpse, have eyes for the Natalman Summer next month. So we're hoping for a good result today. Quipster for the Uellings broke his maiden first time out. I thought he was pretty impressive. I think he's really improved since his first race. He's trained in company with Maloney, another filly that broke her maiden first time out, and was impressive. So the two of them have really kind of moved forward, I think, since their initial first races. De Laurenta, who's facing the boys in the Soaring Free, she was pretty impressive breaking her maiden first time out. She won pretty easily. So she's another filly that we've got high expectations on. We're really excited to kind of see them go. We've got a few maidens out today. A Japanese bred filly for Rapoli that's been working well. Crazy Busy's her name. She's looking well. Very Special's actually half sister makes her debut in the same race. Her name's Winning Jewel. She seems to be a little bit more precocious than Very Special was at this age. So we're looking forward to kind of seeing her go. And Cottrell is the third one entrant in that race. She was pretty impressive first time out, ran second, just got beat ahead to another stablemate. And she's really kind of picked it up since that race. It seems like the light bulb's gone off, and she's been really aggressive in the mornings, and looking forward to seeing her back out there.
Talking with trainer Kevin Attard here on the Equine Forum, presented by TwinSpires on HRRN. Kevin, how about the other graded stakes races that you're in? You have the Grade 2 Canadian, where you have 2 horses entered, and then the Grade 2 King Edward, which I guess I'm supposed to refer to that race as the King Eddie?
Yes, and the King Eddie, we've got Gaffney up, so he's coming back off a little bit of a refreshing. We had him last season, took him to Del Mar. I thought he ran a huge race in the mile. He had a good winter at Santa Anita there with Peter Yurden, and he's had a little bit of a break after that. We've been gearing up for this race, obviously pointing towards the Woodbine Mile. So hopefully we've got him tight enough where he can kind of fire fresh off the bat. He's usually a good horse off the bench, so we're excited to see him back in action. And in the Canadian, we've got 2 fillies there. Eponine for Rapoli, that showed some ability and promise early in her career, coming off of a nice win at Saratoga. I think she's got a big future ahead of her. She seems to continue to improve in her races, and we're expecting her to kind of take another step forward today. And War Painter, obviously a big acid test for her today, but she's a filly that tries each and every time, and hopefully she can hit the tick and get some graded black type.
Kevin, you're the best, man. All the best coming up later today in the King's Plate and all the stakes races and all the races you're going to be represented in. It's a busy day for you. Really appreciate the visit on such a busy day, and go get it done later today.
Much appreciated. Thank you again.
All right, Kevin Attard, always so gracious with his time, and he's so good, isn't he, Angela? When he starts walking through all of his horses, and this horse did this horse did. I mean, he's a machine.
You look at the number of horses that he has in today, and my goodness, I mean, the number of arms you have to have just to keep up with saddling all of them.
Yeah.
I wanted to maybe press him for a horse that's going to surprise us, but I don't know if any of these are going to really surprise us with the form that they have. There's a lot of live entrants from this barn, and I wouldn't be surprised if they pick up a trio 4 wins today. They just have that good of spots for these horses. It's going to be a great day, and I think that we're going to hear Kevin Attard's name quite a bit.
Yep, he'll be. I'll be shocked if he isn't in the winner's circle. Let's set the over-under at, it's going to have to be an even. Let's set it at, if you're going to bet the over-under on how many races he's going to win today with those horses he just walked through, let's set it at, would you take over or under 3.5?
Oh, you just put me right on that line. I'm going to go over.
Yeah, that might be a touch high. I'll take under. I think 2.5 is probably a better line if you were going to try to do it. But I think I'd go under. I mean, trying to win 4 races is a lot, right? That's a career day, but he's had plenty of career days.
Yeah, just by sheer volume of the horses that he has in. I'm gonna say that you probably would be okay going over. It'll be a reach, but not on a day like this. My goodness, he has so many opportunities to get there. I'm going to go ahead and take the over. If I'm wrong, I'm wrong, but I think that that's how it's going to set up.
All right, the King's Plate is coming up later today at Woodbine. As you know, we've talked plenty about it over the course of the first couple of hours of the program. We have more to come, but when we come back, we're going to turn our attention westward to Emerald Downs in Washington State. And we're going to talk with Joe Withee. The Longacres Mile, which is another race steeped in history, is going to be coming up tomorrow afternoon. And we'll talk to Joe all about some of the main storylines there. This is the Equine Forum, presented by TwinSpires on HRRN, horse racing's voice.
Race to TwinSpires, where you can unlock a $25 risk-free bet. Just use the code HRRN25 when you sign up. And if your first bet doesn't win, TwinSpires will refund your account up to $25. Wagering on the app is fast with free past performances, insider picks, and power plays every day you wager. TwinSpires. Download the app today to earn your $25 risk-free bet. Void where prohibited. For terms and conditions, visit TwinSpires.com. Must be 18 or older, 21 and older where applicable. For help with a gambling problem, call 1-800-GAMBLER.
This is Woodbine Week on the Horse Racing Radio Network.
The thrill of world-class thoroughbred racing continues at Toronto's Woodbine Racetrack this Saturday with the 167th running of the King's Plate. First post is 12:30 p.m. Eastern, with special wagers including $250,000 guaranteed early, middle, and late pick 5s and a $5 Woodbine Stakes pick 3, which has a 15% takeout, plus many more wagering opportunities. You will not want to miss King's Plate Day at Woodbine. For more information on racing and wagering at Woodbine, visit woodbine.com.
Colonial Downs summer racing season is here with a new schedule featuring live racing every Thursday through Sunday. Post time 12:30 p.m. Eastern. Back is our popular 12% takeout pick 5 offered twice daily, and play the all-new $3 late pick 3 with a 15% takeout. Don't forget, closing day will be Labor Day, Monday, September 7th, with the Grade 3 Old Dominion Derby. Colonial Downs, the next era in racing.
Horses power Virginia's economy, creating over 38,000 good, fulfilling jobs every year. Think about the farmers, the farriers, the feeders, the athletes, trainers, drivers, and jockeys, caretakers and landscapers, investors and interns, veterinarians, restaurant owners, restaurant workers, tour guides, trail guides, equine therapists, and so many more. Now that's horsepower. Virginia's economy wins with horses.
The biggest day in Washington State racing is now even bigger and better. On Sunday, August 16th, watch and wager on 6 stakes races, including the 91st running of the prestigious Longacres Mile from Emerald Downs. Post time is 1:50 p.m. Pacific time. Play the all stakes pick 4, pick 5, and pick 6, and don't forget all pick 3s have a 12% takeout. For more race day and ticket information, visit emeralddowns.com.
You're listening to the Equine Forum on HRRN, presented by TwinSpires.
And then it's Sluice Tiz Wiz, who scrapes the paint but gets through towards the rail. 3/16 to go. Moment of truth time for Papa's Golden Boy. Papa's Golden Boy has a lead by 4. Sluice Tiz Wiz now angles to the outside second. And then it's Top Executive, 5-star General Majestic Eagle. 16th to go. It's Sluice Tiz Wiz who sweeps on by. Sluice Tiz Wiz in the Longacres Mile. Papa's Golden Boy was second. The time for the mile, 1:34.46. Sluice Tiz Wiz and Jose Zunino in the Longacres Mile.
The 91st running of the Longacres Mile comes up tomorrow at Emerald Downs in Washington. And as I've told you, I love storylines. And to me, one of the greatest storylines is this 8-year-old Washington-bred gelding who won the race in 2022, as you just heard, Slews Tiz Wiz, making his 5th consecutive appearance in the Longacres Mile tomorrow afternoon. This is what horse racing is all about, and what a story it would be if he can find his way to the winner's circle once again. Joe Withee is the man who is on top of things at Emerald Downs, and he joins us now here on HRN. Joe, good morning.
Mike, great to be with you on Longacres Mile weekend once again.
Yeah, thrilled to have you here, my friend. And how about this story? I love storylines. This, to me, is fantastic.
Mike, I've been going over the race, and I'm picking Slews Tiz Wiz to win this year.
Yes.
I am. You know, his qualities that have got him to where he is, they're just evident year in, year out at Emerald Downs. He is a true competitor. He knows what the game's all about. He just wants to try, and he wants to do his best. His trainer, Tom Wenzel, has said that for years, and we can witness it year after year. Yeah, he's won the mile in 2022. You just played it. He's been third twice in the mile since then. He ran into 5-star General twice, of course, in 2023 and 2024. But he's coming off a win, and the sprinters in the mile, they don't have really supreme success. See, that Tiger has won 7 of his last 8 sprint races. He won the Governors. Slews Tiz Wiz broke a little slowly in that race. Tax Code broke a little slowly. It was solo lead, and when you give a really fine sprinter, and he is a fine sprinter, see that Tiger, that kind of an advantage early, and he definitely took the race all the way. So sprinters, yeah, in the mile, it's not that easy. Now, this isn't the biggest field we've had. We've got 8 horses this year, and when there's 12, usually there's an extra sprinter or 2 in there to make it even tougher on the front runners. But Slews Tiz Wiz, he doesn't get a lot of perfect trips. When he did win the mile in 22, things worked out really well. He stayed on the rail. Jose Zanino kept him on the rail on the turn, and he did find some room and just really pulled away to win. But he has run all different types of races. See, that Tiger is going to probably, almost undoubtedly, get some early competition from Adios Jojo, who's more of a high claimer, but isn't slow and has won at a mile, and he's won a sprint at the meeting. So I'm thinking Slews Tiz Wiz is going to run his race. Now, Touchy has the 1 hole, and he is the deserved morning line favorite in from Kentucky with Wesley Ward's going to be here, and that's a great story as well. But Touchy isn't... Touchy has 1 win at 2, 1 win at 3, 1 win at 4. He's been facing better competition than Emerald Downs has to offer. But Slews Tiz Wiz has a little hometown advantage. And, again, he's going to be running his race the best as he can. And at age 8, I think he can still do it, Mike.
Joe, you mentioned Wesley Ward. That is the other storyline that caught my attention here. That is a very special thing for Wesley to return to his home state of Washington. And how cool would it be to see him win with Touchy?
Ward is a couple years younger than Mike Puich, but they spent so much time together as kids. Mike Puich is the trainer of Executive Chef, and Mike has won the mile twice. 2012 with Taylor Said, owned by Canadian legend Glenn Todd, and then owned by Bob Rondo, University of Washington Husky broadcaster in 2021. Background, of course, spent most of his career in the Midwest, in Arkansas and Kentucky. But so Mike has won it. They grew up together. Mike was from a good-sized family. They're all big. And he, the jockey thing left him early. Wesley, of course, got too big to be a jockey after a great 5-6 year career in the 80s. But, I called Wesley a few weeks ago, and he already had the mile in his sights. It was such a great call because he was thinking about the race with Touchy. He nominated Touchy to 3 stakes. The mile had the smallest purse of the three, but he said, I'm trying to get my owner to realize what a big race this is in Washington, how much tradition, the fans come out, and you just look at the list of winners. It just means so much. And he did the proper sell job on Mr. Torrealba and Three Chimneys, and Touchy arrived at Emerald Downs a few days ago, and he's ready to run. Looks great, a son of Nyquist, coming off his best career speed figure at Churchill. So we just appreciate people like Wesley, who was inducted into the Washington Hall of Fame several years ago for, a career that doesn't really need to be expanded upon right now. We all know the accomplishments of Wesley Ward. So it was just great to hear him knowing about the mile and having a horse that fit that category this year and getting him here.
Well, the great storylines seem to be overflowing in the Longacres Mile, but it's not the only stakes on the card. There's plenty leading up to it and, of course, after it. So what are some of the other storylines that grab your attention on this whole card?
Hey, hi, Angela. Yeah, we have some, in the Oaks and the Derby, those two races, a lot of times the horses are running two turns for the first time. This year, we did get kind of a mile prep before the Derby with our Kent Stakes in the Filly division and the Seattle Slew Stakes in the Colton Gelding division. So a little more exposed form on those two. The fillies are pretty wide open. Bewitching Joy had a tough trip in the Kent. She was the favorite. Falling Leaves won it up front. Those two, have both run around two turns now. Storm Harbor has some good speed figures. She's going to be sprinting to route. So there's some storylines there. And Robin Racer, a son of Collected, he won our Gottstein last year when 2-year-olds go two turns for the first time. And he's just maintained very high quality. He's going to be a strong favorite and tough to beat in our Muckleshoot Derby. Now, the Distaff, which has been run on Longacres Mile Sunday every year of Emerald Downs' existence, I think you can see the form on Aloha Breeze is pretty darn awesome. She is 3 for 3 this year at age 6. She just tied the track record of 9 stakes wins for a filly or mare, and she has won the Distaff. She won it by 11 lengths 2 years ago. Last year, she was beaten. It was close. Stay Sassy beat her. Stay Sassy's back in the field this year. And then in the Muckleshoot Tribal Distaff, she did win it, but there was about 4 horses on her neck that day. So a little bit more effective in one-turn races than 2, but just a tremendous daughter of the Factor. We had never had a horse be divisional champion at ages 2, 3, and 4, at Emerald Downs, because there's Washington breds, Kentucky breds, Cal breds. Everybody is eligible to be a champion, but she has been her own divisional champion at ages 2, 3, 4, and 5. And as you can see, she's 3 for 3 at age 6. So it looks like another divisional championship very possible for Aloha Breeze. Certainly the one to catch in there. Precise Timing is a quality filly. She's chased Aloha Breeze a couple of times this year. I give her a good chance just because a touch more vulnerability to Aloha Breeze at the 2-turn distance. And then Someday Lady has won a route stake at Hastings at ages 2 and 3. And she missed some time and then had a little bit of a mishap on the way to the paddock for a race a couple months back that really cost her some training time. It was a superficial cut, but she got her leg up and she's fine now. Trainer Mike Puich is very confident Someday Lady's going to run a big race tomorrow. So, and then we've got some two-year-old stakes as well. That, a lot of different things can happen there. But, just 6 stakes, all kinds of rolling pick 3 and pick 4, all stakes wagers tomorrow at Emerald Downs, a 12-race card. And actually, Background is in, I believe it's the 3rd race tomorrow. So he is a former Longacres Mile winner. And Mike Puich kind of kept track of his career after a couple of claims, and Mike purchased him privately back in the winter and said, I'm going to retire that horse. He's been pretty good to me. And I think all but maybe one win in Background's career were under Mike Puich's care as trainer. And so Background's got a couple wins this year at age 9, and that's a good story. That's a really good starter allowance race, too, earlier in the card. So really looking forward to Sunday at Emerald Downs. It's, of course, our big day, as you well know.
Yeah, you've set the table beautifully from a wagering standpoint, from the storyline standpoint. But one of the best things about Emerald is that you guys are not afraid to try something new, whether it be T-Rex races or people taking to the track, whatever it is. What is in the mix for Sunday's card? What sort of new surprises should we expect in the midst of this card?
Well, Angela, we're going pretty much pure racing on Sunday, and you're right. We have our attendance, you see shots of Emerald Downs if you're watching on weekends. We really get the fans out. If the weather's nice in Western Washington, people want to get outside because there's a lot of months when you don't really want to get outside and do too much. But we do have really nice summers, and the promotions like the Corgi races, the Wiener Dog races, the T-Rex races, even the Bulldog races, kids races. We let the kids race on the track. We had a grandparents race a few years ago, and that became really popular. So, who would ever have a grandparents race? Phil Ziegler, our track president, has a marketing background, and we got a lot of newcomers out at the track. You try and make some new race fans. Some of them are going to grasp it and want to come back, which is a goal. But they do have a good time when they're here, and we have some fun days out here at the track. But pretty much pure racing on Sunday.
Joe, you mentioned the potential for a bit of a speed battle in the Longacres Mile. For people that are going to be playing a lot of those wagers at Emerald tomorrow that maybe don't often play Emerald Downs, but they're going to be doing it tomorrow because of the outstanding betting program. How does that track typically play?
We were just talking about that the other day, and, it every now and then you get the rail that is golden, and speed horses fare well. But that did happen. Another handicapper I deal a lot with, John Lindley, he pointed that out when we had stakes races on June 21st, that speed on the inside was really prominent. And, and then anybody that was racing outside that day, take a look at them next time they run. And that was pretty true. There were some winners coming out of that. And, we all keep track of that to an extent. But I would say, being honest, it's been pretty darn fair the last 6 weeks or so. We had, front runners, hey, they've got the advantage. They got the lead. They run the shortest distance. If they stay along the rail, they don't get traffic. They don't get dirt kicked in their face. So there is a percentage of advantage there. But I would say, really, on balance, pretty darn fair. We've seen plenty of stretch runners win. So I wouldn't lay any big bias favorite on anybody right now.
Joe, it's always fun to catch up, my friend. Enjoy this weekend. Enjoy the Longacres Mile, and I'm sure we'll be talking again soon.
Mike, thank you for the time. Mike, Angela, looking forward to the races tomorrow. And, I'm going to pick Slew's Tiz Wiz, the 8-year-old that's happened before. He would be, I believe, the 5th 8-year-old to win the mile, and we'll see. He's Washington bred as well, so that gives us a little extra incentive. Thanks much.
Thanks, Joe. The Washington Hall of Famer, Joe Withee, with us here on HRRN. And that card tomorrow, first post 1:50 Pacific time, so it'd be 4:50 Eastern. You got the all-stakes pick 4. You got a pick 5, a pick 6. There's a 12% takeout on all pick 3s. So keep that in mind, too, when you're getting ready to play the races. Should be a fantastic afternoon of thoroughbred racing in Washington State. Coming up next, we'll take a look at a couple dates in racing history as they apply to this weekend and tell you what's coming up in hour number 3. That's right. We're not done yet. Plenty more to come. This is the Equine Forum on the Horse Racing Radio Network.
Ms. Fernandez, what are those tiny things?
Those are what we call amoebas. You can only see them through a microscope.
Wow.
Today's students are tomorrow's great thinkers and innovators. But right now, there's a funding crisis in public schools. Millions of kids go to schools that don't have funding for books, computers, and so much more just because of where they live. You can help change that. Donors Choose is a nonprofit that lets you support students and teachers in your community and beyond. You choose which supplies to support. You could provide first graders with pencils and paper, or other students with their first chapter books, help a music class get a guitar.
You could even supply a classroom like mine with a science project. But what you're really giving is the moment that sparks a brighter tomorrow.
To learn more, please visit DonorsChoose.org. That's DonorsChoose.org. Choose students. Shape the future.
I always tell people I was the luckiest guy in the world. I wanted to be an Army man or a fireman, and I got to do both. As a firefighter, my job was about saving lives. I never thought one day I would be fighting for mine.
After spending his career answering the call to save others, Ken was diagnosed with ALS. Now he's facing his biggest battle, for more time. For 70 years, Muscular Dystrophy Association has been answering the call to help people live longer and more independent lives.
MDA means to me hope.
MDA is leading the way for people living with ALS, muscular dystrophy, and other neuromuscular diseases by accelerating research, advancing care, and advocating to empower families like Ken's.
I wouldn't be living as good of a life with ALS if it wasn't for MDA. MDA is helping people live stronger and love longer. Learn more at MDA.org today.
Hi, human. I'm a micro monster swimming around in your plastic water bottle. But I can't wait to swim in your bloodstream soon.
Microplastics are micro monsters.
Drink me. Wait, what are you doing?
But you can fight back by using glass or metal reusable water bottles.
No!
Don't let microplastic micro monsters invade your body. Find more ways to fight back at stopmicromonsters.org.
Thursday evenings, 6 to 7 p.m. Eastern, is the Brisnet.com call-in show. It's your chance to call in and let the Horse Racing Radio Nation know what's on your mind. Call us at 888-966-HRRN. That's 888-966-4776. And discuss the topics you choose in the world of thoroughbred racing. The Brisnet.com call-in show. Sirius 162, XM 207, and streaming live at horseracingradio.net. You're listening to the Equine Forum on HRRN, presented by TwinSpires.
Getting ready to wrap up Hour 2. Hour 3 is loaded with more content, including the TwinSpires Triple Play with Vance Hanson. Kurt Becker Stroll Through Racing History, looking back on the inaugural King's Plate from 1860. That segment presented by our friends at Keeneland. And I Asked, They Answer with Dale and Tim at 10:30. Which bet would you make in today's King's Plate at Woodbine? Would you take Luster, the even money favorite, or would you take the field? 67% of HRRN Nation, Angela, saying it is going to be the field.
It seems the votes just keep coming your way. Yes, right now they are definitely in your favor with the field. Lots to pick from in that respect, and I get it, but I think Luster is going to be a handful for them all to beat.
By the way, our thanks to Woodbine Entertainment for all of their support of Woodbine Week, which we've been celebrating throughout the week here on HRN. Special content on all of our shows, different interviews, and all of that content also posted on our social media pages, and I know so many of you have engaged and interacted with that, and we certainly appreciate it. But our thanks to Woodbine. It is a very special day north of the border this afternoon. Okay, a few dates in racing history as they apply to this weekend. How about this one? August 15th, 1987. Angela, that's when future Hall of Fame jockey Kent DeSormo began his career as a journeyman jockey.
Who knew that it would start there and still be going today? I mean, Kent DeSormo has been on quite the journey, you would say, since August 15th of 1987, but definitely has left his mark since that time.
August 15th, 2000, we'll stay with the jockeys because you had Hall of Famer Russell Bays ride 3 winners at Bay Meadows that day. That put him past Angel Cordero Jr. into 5th place on the list of all-time winning riders. At that point, 7,059 victories.
That's the very first name that you had to learn when you went to go call races in Northern California. And Russell Bay's, many of those milestones out there meant a lot to the people in the Bay Area, including at Bay Meadows and Golden Gate. And that was just one of many, many victories he acquired along the way. Good to see that landmark, though, in history.
Always was referred to as a big fish in a small pond, but that guy could ride anywhere.
Yes, he could. And getting to see him in action, you got to see why he got the reputation that he did. Sometimes horses that you never saw coming would make their way into the picture and then into the winner's circle.
Didn't you call his final race?
I did. He ran third that day, but the ride was probably just as good as the call in that final race of his career.
We need to find that call, by the way. I've talked about this. I've threatened to do this on the show before. Lee has a new assignment. We're going to find it, and we're going to play it here on the show. All right, August 16th, 1930. That is tomorrow, the anniversary of Triple Crown winner Gallant Fox being beaten by 100-1 long shot Jim Dandy in the Travers Stakes at Saratoga.
Who knew that upset would leave such a mark on history, with the Jim Dandy being such a big part of our schedule today, just in beating Gallant Fox long ago, but still names that are very relevant on the scene.
I got to throw one more out there. Tomorrow, August 16th, 1946. I think this is cool. Rockingham Park began to film its races from the vantage of a helicopter, using the equipment as a mechanical patrol judge. How wild is that?
Well, now we can't get enough of drones in racing, so I guess they were just way ahead of their time back then at Rockingham Park.
Oh, I miss the Rock. Boy, what a beautiful place. All right, Angela, 2 hours down, 1 to go. Again, a very busy third hour of the program. Plenty of selections coming up with Vance Hanson in the triple play, Kurt Becker, Dale, Tim, lots of things to get to. By the way, we have a surprise for Dale. We're going to do that at the end of the show. So stay with us. Hour 3 coming your way next, right after this 10-second pause for station identification. This is the Horse Racing Radio Network, where racing comes to talk.
This is HRRN, horse racing's voice.
And Delta Prince shoots for the lead on the outside. Behind them, Conquest Panthera started to explode, but ran about as Delta Prince hit the front. Delta Prince the leader. Shakamat in second, then Caribou Club and Conquest Panthera. And it is Delta Prince in the King Eddie. And she's back with a vengeance. And Moira spacing them here as race 3 in front of Fev Rover. Atomic Blonde down the outside, flat up against the rail, and she's going to give them a galloping lesson in the Canadian Stakes.
Welcome to the Equine Forum, presented by TwinSpires.
Awesome Gem has hit the front. Noosa Beach has to fight back. Awesome Gem and Noosa Beach, but it's Awesome Gem pouring it on. Awesome Gem in front, now almost a length. Awesome Gem is going away in the mile. He's got it won. Stanley House trying to run them down. Paramount Prince in front. A full-on to run, dashed away for Patrick Husbands. Elysian Field in second. Stanley House in third. But Paramount Prince, Prince becomes the king. Paramount Prince wins the 164th King's Plate.
Now here's Mike Penna and Angela Herman.
Welcome back. Happy King's Plate Day. Mike Penna, Angela Herman with you here on HRRN, the Equine Forum, all presented by TwinSpires. It is a huge day north of the border, as you've heard throughout the first 2 hours of the program. We have spent a lot of time talking about the King's Plate and some of the other races that are taking place at Woodbine. Of course, we looked ahead to tomorrow's Longacres Mile at Emerald Downs. That's going to be a fantastic race as well. All kinds of action taking place, including the Christophe Clement up at Saratoga. And that, I have a feeling, will be part of Vance Hanson's TwinSpires triple play coming up momentarily. But my goodness, Angela, have we covered a lot of ground.
Yeah, a lot of ground geographically as well. Of course, every weekend it goes to a different spot. But very interesting to see how things are going to go north of the border this weekend. I like the racing a lot.
You have Vance Hanson with the TwinSpires triple play momentarily. Then we'll go to Kurt Becker for his weekly Stroll Through Racing History presented by Keeneland. That comes your way at 10:20. It's a look at the inaugural King's Plate back in 1860. Should be a fantastic story. I Ask, They Answer with Dale and Tim comes your way at 10:30 Eastern Time. Stay tuned for that. But we say hello to Vance Hanson with this week's TwinSpires triple play. Good morning, Vance.
Hey, Mike. Hey, Angela. Good morning to both of you.
Good morning.
Angela just mentioned the fact that we covered a lot of ground geographically this morning with the races we're talking about. You're going to do the same thing with the races you selected in the triple play.
Yeah, we're going to start in Kentucky and then head north to the border and then back into the States to Saratoga to wrap things up. Looking forward to it.
All right, let's jump in. The first of the 3 races you've chosen is the 8th race at Ellis Park. It's a 1.16 miles on the turf. Purse of $102,000. How'd you see race 8 at Ellis?
Well, on paper, it looks like number 10 Doctrine is the horse to beat off of a close loss at this level. But I thought the horse breaking to his immediate outside, number 11 Winter Holiday, looked rather intriguing for Godolphin and trainer Owen Hardy. Winter Holiday has not been out since March when he broke his maiden pretty impressively over the synthetic at Turfway Park. It was his third career start, but first around 2 turns. So, I mean, I got the impression that this is just a natural 2-turn horse. Not sure what has caused the layoff since then, but he's been working pretty well, it seems to me, including a 6-furlong stamina building work in advance of this race. He is trying grass for the first time, but he is by Frosted and out of in his first 2 dams, if you look back, both were winners on the turf. So I think that's a plus in his favor. And also, he's a very close relative to Immersive, the champion juvenile filly from a couple of years ago. So obviously, you expect Godolphin horses to have pretty good pedigrees. And I think Winter Holiday probably has sufficient to handle the grass first time out.
Now, if you look at some of the races in Lucky Mischief's recent history, he's done a little bit better on a firm course, and of course we expect that today. Do you think maybe getting back off a yielding course onto firm ground will help his cause?
It's possible. But we're also kind of dealing with a horse that's, he's 3 for 18. He's been tried at this level quite extensively, and basically he is an ex-claimer and even lost at the claiming level quite often. So, my concern is that he's kind of relatively exposed compared to Winter Holiday. Lucky Mischief, of course, has that placing at the allowance level 2 back, but all in all, I think he's given the indication to me that he's more of a high-end claimer than an allowance type. And, of course, Winter Holiday, to me, just has a lot more upside going for him.
All right, post time for race 8 at Ellis, 1:55 Eastern. You might be wondering why that is so early for the 8th race on the program. It is because first post at Ellis Park this afternoon has been moved up to 11 a.m. Eastern because of the extreme heat that they are having in Henderson. So keep that in mind. First post, first of 9 races, 11 a.m. Eastern. Race 8 that Vance just talked about, 1:55 p.m. Eastern time. Vance, the second race you've chosen is race number 5 at Woodbine. We'll take a look at that one. That is a maiden special weight event, $125,000 on the line, 7.5 furlongs on the inner turf. Who wins this one?
Yeah, another situation here. Trainer Kevin Attard has got a couple of fillies in here that have some stakes credentials going back to their juvenile seasons last year. However, neither have really run improved or have shown improved form since turning 3 in limited outings. To me, this kind of seems like a race where you want to go for a bit of a fresher face, and so I've kind of landed on Super Gin's World for trainer Mark Cassie. $575,000 yearling purchase by Vacoma. She's made 2 starts so far. She kind of got outrun in late June running 5 furlongs, but stretched out to a mile last time. She showed much improved speed and only got tired basically in the last 16th to a furlong, and she finished 4th that day. I think cutting back to 7.5 furlongs is going to work for her. There is a little bit of other speed in here to contend with. She might be the fastest of the speed, though, and this is another case where I think she's got a lot more upside than some of the horses that she'll be competing against here, even though they've got some stronger back class credentials. They've kind of proven themselves to be more or less some career maidens.
So if Super Gin's World and some other ones have some speed in here, if the pace really does get hot, which of the closers can benefit the most in here? And maybe who of the lighter experienced horses do you think could take a step forward too?
Well, as far as the closers, I'd go back to the Kevin Attard filly, Celebrity Warrior. I think she should benefit from, in her second race off of a long layoff. She ran an off the turf race on July 4th. Didn't really handle the synthetic quite well, but, go back to some of her turf form. She at Gulfstream and then at Laurel and Saratoga last year. I think she's pretty decent, but at a reduced price. Another horse that kind of caught my eye as far as inexperienced horses, I think Josie Carroll's Philly Beaches a Breeze could improve moving to the turf her second time out. And then Fury's Flight is a first-time starter that's turned in some pretty impressive work. So I don't know what to make of her, but she did run pretty fast in a workout on the turf course last week.
All right, so number 4, Super Gins World, 4-1 on the morning line for Mark Casse, the top pick for Vance in race 5 at Woodbine. Vance, that brings us to the final leg you've chosen this morning. It comes from Saratoga, and it is a good one. It's the Grade 1 Christophe Clement Turf Stakes. Christophe inducted last week into Horse Racing's Hall of Fame, and now this race named in his honor. 1.5 miles on the turf. How'd you see race 9 at Saratoga?
Well, I'm looking for history to be made here with number 1, Ancient Egypt. No 3-year-old has ever won this race, going back to the days when it was called the Sword Dancer. And I dug in a little bit into the race's history. And the most effective 3-year-old performer in the Sword Dancer way back when was Sunshine Forever, who was actually a pretty heavy favorite as a 3-year-old when this race was run in late June at Belmont Park. And he wound up losing to a filly named Anka Germania. So there's been no major 3-year-old contender to run effectively in this race since then, but I think Ancient Egypt definitely has the credentials to make amends for that. He's coming in from Europe, where he comes off 2 narrow losses, one at Royal Ascot and the King Edward VII, and then to a Maltese Cross. He lost by head to that rival in the Grand Prix de Paris at Longchamp last time. A Maltese Cross had earlier finished second in the Epsom Derby. So those are 2 very solid form lines for Ancient Egypt. I think if you could look back at his effort in the Epsom Derby 3-back, that's a toss-out. That was run on an extremely soft ground. And another thing I'd mention also about his last race at Longchamp, the designation for the course condition that day was soft. I was in France at that time. They were going through a major heat wave, dry spell. Unless they had a very liberal watering policy at Longchamp, the course was not soft. And you can look at the final time of that race too. 2:24.3 is not soft course ground finish for 1.5 miles. So I think this horse is going to do quite well over firm turf at Saratoga. I guess it'll be a matter of whether he can handle the tighter configuration of this track, well enough to win. But I think, he's got a weight concession from the older rivals. I think he's got a lot of improvement in him and probably a bit more class than some of the old timers that we're seeing in this race.
Yeah, it's quite the resume, especially for a 3-year-old that's trying to buck history the way that he is. Now, if you did dig into the past of this race, which horse falls the most in line, I guess, with the anecdotes of the past, or I guess with the facts of the past, rather than the one that's trying to make history?
Good question. Kind of look at some of the older class horses in here, program trading. I think, of course, you have to look at, he's a multiple grade 1 winner from past years, and he's finally got back into the winning mode at Monmouth recently, although, he wasn't beating much and got a low Brisnet speed rating for his win in the UN last time. Fort George, I think, is another horse that you have to seriously look at. He was caught behind a slow pace set by Old Crazy Bones in the Bowling Green, but he was coming off of a bit of a layoff, and I expect him to move forward as well.
All right, so the TwinSpires triple play. Let's recap all 3 races that Vance has given you here this morning. Race 8 at Ellis. He'll go with number 11, Winter Holiday, 8-1 on the morning line. Race 5 at Woodbine, he'll take number 4, Super Gins World, 4-1. And in race 9 at Saratoga, the Christophe Clement, he will go with number 1, Ancient Egypt, 5-1 on the morning line. Those are pretty good prices, Vance. We'll see if they can offer some value later today. What's happening at Briss and what's happening at TwinSpires this weekend?
Well, go to TwinSpires, and of course, I want to plug our daily handicapping contest that we have. If you are a handicapping contest veteran or just want to try it for the first time, we've got plenty of options for you on a daily basis. A couple of betting promotions today. We've got a $10 bet back on 5 selected races at Saratoga, including the Christophe Clement. You bet $10 to win on your first horse in those races. If they run second or third, you'll get $10 back. Then at Woodbine today for the King's Plate, on all eligible races, we got a 15% profit boost, up to $25 on all your winning exacta, trifecta, and superfecta wagers.
Okay, so we have 3 picks from you. We got the promos and what's going on. So with these 3 picks, if you're going to predict what prices they're going to go off at, who is going to provide the most bang for the buck in the triple play?
I'd probably have to go with the first race at Ellis that I picked on number 11, Winter Holiday. I think people are going to be a little bit concerned, coming off of a long layoff with him and, trying grass for the first time. I think he's going to probably provide the most bang for your buck. And I see the morning line on Ancient Egypt and the Christophe Clement is 5-1. I rather suspect he's going to go off at a lower price than that.
Vance, you're the best, my man. Thanks for taking the time. The TwinSpires Triple Play. Don't forget, you can bet all those races you're going to bet this weekend. Just make sure you're doing it with TwinSpires. Talk to you next week, Vance.
Thanks, guys. Have a great day.
Yep. Oh, maybe about 3 weeks from now. We'll rotate Vance back into the mix here with the TwinSpires Triple Play. I don't know who's on deck next week. Maybe it's Joe Christofek. Maybe I bet you it's James Scully. I'll have to take a look at that.
Well, maybe we should have a policy. If they get the hat trick, if they get the triple play all completed, they come back the next week until they're dethroned.
Ooh, I like that. If they go 3 for 3.
Yes, exactly. Then we bring back the champ, and then if you go 2 for 3 the next week, sorry, on to the next.
Bring them back for a curtain call. I like it.
Exactly.
I like it. Well, time to update our listeners on our Mojo Racing Impossible Trivia question for this morning. Angela, you have it.
Okay, let's get your mojo working with this one. How many fillies have won the Canadian Triple Crown? Who were they? And in what years? My goodness, this is a multi-tiered question to get your mojo working. No Googling.
The answer comes your way at the end of this hour, right around 10:55 Eastern. Up next, Kurt Becker takes you on his weekly Stroll Through Racing History, a look back at the inaugural King's Plate from 1860. Stay tuned for that story. This is the Equine Forum, presented by TwinSpires on HRRN.
You're listening to HRRN, Horse Racing's Voice.
Race to TwinSpires, where you can unlock a $25 risk-free bet. Just use the code HRRN25 when you sign up. And if your first bet doesn't win, TwinSpires will refund your account up to $25. Wagering on the app is fast with free past performances, insider picks, and power plays every day you wager. TwinSpires. Download the app today to earn your $25 risk-free bet. Void where prohibited. For terms and conditions, visit TwinSpires.com. Must be 18 or older, 21 and older where applicable. For help with a gambling problem, call 1-800-GAMBLER.
Join us at Kentucky Downs August 29th through September 9th, showcasing 7 days of racing with $37 million in purses, including $17.9 million in KTDF purses for Kentucky breds and the $3 million Nashville Derby on Saturday, September 5th. America's richest and only all-turf meet, hosting 2 Breeders' Cup Win and You're In races. Reserved seats on sale at themintkentuckydowns.com. There's unique, and there's Kentucky Downs.
Get ready for the biggest night of the year at Charlestown on Friday, August 28th. It's the Grade 2 $1 million Charlestown Classic and the Grade 2 $750,000 Charlestown Oaks, the richest sprint race for 3-year-old fillies in North America. The spectacular card features 9 stakes races worth over $2.7 million. The action gets started with a special first post time of 5 o'clock Eastern. It's the Grade 2 Charlestown Classic and Grade 2 Charlestown Oaks on Friday, August 28th here at Hollywood Casino at Charlestown Races.
Live racing is back at Ellis Park Racing and Gaming. The 25-day summer racing season runs through August 23rd with racing every Friday through Sunday throughout the summer with a daily first post of 11:55 a.m. Central, featuring many of racing's top trainers and jockeys and a record $4.125 million stakes schedule across 18 races, including the Summer Showcase Weekend August 1st and 2nd and the Ellis Park Derby Day August 9th. You won't want to miss summer racing at Ellis Park. For more information, visit EllisParkOwensboroGaming.com.
A Keeneland session topper from the first crop of the all-conquering Vekoma, Jonathan's Way was touted by purchaser John Moynihan as, quote, one of the best-looking horses you'll ever lay your eyes on. Out of an undefeated stakes-winning juvenile daughter of Indian Charlie, Jonathan's Way is a complete outcross through his first 5 generations and comes from the immediate female family of the great Dynaformer. Brilliantly talented with the pedigree and physical makeup to be commercial dynamite. Jonathan's Way, a future stallion star standing at Airdrie Stud. Think about it.
You're listening to the Equine Forum on HRRN, presented by TwinSpires.
Hello, I'm Kurt Becker. Thanks for joining me as I take another stroll through racing history presented by Keeneland. As we celebrate Woodbine Week here on HRRN and with the 167th running of the King's Plate later today at Woodbine, we thought it would be appropriate to look back at the inaugural running of North America's oldest continuously run stakes race. It was on Friday, April 1st, 1859, that the fledgling Toronto Turf Club petitioned Queen Victoria of the United Kingdom to grant a request to create a new stakes race. The petition asked for an annual event with a prize of a plate to the value of 50 guineas to the winner. The petition was sent to the Queen given that Canada would not take the first step toward self-governing autonomy until 1867. On July 18th, the Queen sent her reply via Sir Edmund Head, the Duke of Newcastle. The petition had been granted. Originally intended for the Toronto Turf Club's fall meeting, the inaugural Queen's Plate instead would be run on Wednesday, June 27, 1860. The site would be the Carleton Racetrack, located 6 miles west of Toronto. Today known as the King's Plate, the race as we know it is restricted to Canadian breds 3 years of age, and the distance is 1.25 miles. But the conditions for the inaugural running were much different. Instead of a single dash at 10 furlongs, the inaugural Queen's Plate would be contested at 1 mile dashes, with a horse required to win twice in order to be declared the overall winner. The race itself would be open to all horses bred in Upper Canada, which had never won public money. The inaugural Queen's Plate would take place on the first day of the Toronto Turf Club's 3-day spring meeting on Wednesday, June 27, 1860. The race would be run at Turf Club weights, and it would take 3 horses to make a field with a minimum of 2 to start. The Carleton course was privately held property belonging to author and attorney W.C. Keel. It was said that the track was in splendid order on the day of the race, with post time for the first event set for 1:30 p.m. Entries were to be submitted to the racing secretary by 9 p.m. Tuesday at a location called the Rossin House. Although a provision was made whereby one could enter at post time on Wednesday, provided he were willing to pay double the amount of money to do so. The entries for the inaugural Queen's Plate were as follows: High Flyer, a 4-year-old gelding; Lady Carleton, a 4-year-old mare; Tom Sayers, a 3-year-old colt; Bob Marshall and Paris, both 4-year-old horses; Queen, a mare 5 years of age; Wild Irishman, a 7-year-old gelding; and Don Juan, a gelding 5 years old. Race day would bring most favorable circumstances, including beautifully fine weather, as one newspaper described it. The regulations were carefully observed and faithfully executed by the officials, with little ground for complaint of any kind. The Grand Trunk Railway would carry 7 cars full of passengers to the track, with more than 3,000 spectators attending. Several traveled by horseback and still others arrived by foot. The grandstand was filled to capacity, as was the ladies' stand. A free lunch was served, and it was said the utmost attention and every convenience were offered to the press. As one turf writer put it, nothing marred in the slightest degree the pleasures of the day. This was only the second meeting of the Toronto Turf Club, and the inaugural running of the Queen's Plate was the featured event. As the horses gathered for the first heat, the starter wasted little time sending them on their way. Despite the fact it was an excellent start, Paris kicked and bucked and eventually threw his rider before the first 100 yards had been run. In the meantime, Bob Marshall won the heat after battling Don Juan every step of the way, getting the mile in a time of 1 minute 58 seconds. But in the second heat, Don Juan and jockey Charles Littlefield, a native of Rochester, New York, won without difficulty in a time of 2:05.
And in the third and final dash, Bob Marshall pressured Don Juan the entire journey before Don Juan prevailed by a half length. And so the inaugural running of the Queen's Plate went to a 5-year-old maiden, Don Juan, racing in the scarlet, black, and white silks of owner-breeder James White. The winning horse was a gelded son of Sir Tatton Sykes out of the dam Yellow Rose. The winning owner and his brother John owned no fewer than 7 farms in Ontario and sawmills in every part of the region, with Don Juan having been foaled in Halton County in a barn made of stone walls and milled pine timbers pegged together. His birthplace was a rural setting marked by apple orchards and other such agricultural features. Local newspapers spoke of gratitude toward Queen Victoria for granting the petition for the race, remarking on a pleasant, friendly correspondence between the Queen and the Toronto Turf Club. Ceremonious diction and verbiage, it was said, had been replaced by a democratic sentiment that pervaded even the courtly circles of the mother country up to the very throne itself. As one member of the Toronto Turf Club put it, quote, "None more fully recognize than we do the claims of Queen Victoria to the fullest love our hearts can bestow, and the deepest reverence man may yield." End quote. Please join me again next week when I take another stroll through racing history presented by Keeneland. For HRRN, I'm Kurt Becker.
Kurt Becker with another fantastic story. If you did miss it, head over to our website after I finish up at 11 a.m. Eastern. And don't forget to subscribe to us on Podbean or Apple Podcasts to hear all of our weekly shows. Coming up next, I welcome Dale Romans and Tim Wilkin for this week's edition of I Ask, They Answer. This is the Equine Forum, presented by TwinSpires on HRRN.
Race the TwinSpires, where you can unlock a $25 risk-free bet. Just use the code HRRN25 when you sign up. And if your first bet doesn't win, TwinSpires will refund your account up to $25. Wagering on the app is fast with free past performances, insider picks, and power plays every day you wager. TwinSpires. Download the app today to earn your $25 risk-free bet. Void where prohibited. For terms and conditions, visit TwinSpires.com. Must be 18 or older, 21 and older where applicable. For help with a gambling problem, call 1-800-GAMBLER.
Colonial Downs summer racing season is here with a new schedule featuring live racing every Thursday through Sunday. Post time 12:30 p.m. Eastern. Back is our popular 12% takeout pick 5 offered twice daily, and play the all-new $3 late pick 3 with a 15% takeout. Don't forget, closing day will be Labor Day, Monday, September 7th with the Grade 3 Old Dominion Derby. Colonial Downs, the next era in racing.
Tenda Equine and Pet Care products have been keeping world-class equine athletes happy and healthy for generations. Keep your equine athlete looking and performing well with Tenda Next Generation Wound and Skin Care Treatment, along with nutritional supplements, leg and muscle care products, salves, hoof care, poultice, topical aids, and grooming products. Visit tendahorse.com today.
The biggest day in Washington State racing is now even bigger and better. On Sunday, August 16th, watch and wager on 6 stakes races, including the 91st running of the prestigious Longacres Mile from Emerald Downs. Post time is 1:50 p.m. Pacific time. Play the all stakes pick 4, pick 5, and pick 6, and don't forget all pick 3s have a 12% takeout. For more race day and ticket information, visit emeralddowns.com.
This is Woodbine Week on the Horse Racing Radio Network.
The thrill of world-class thoroughbred racing continues at Toronto's Woodbine Racetrack this Saturday with the 167th running of the King's Plate. First post is 12:30 p.m. Eastern, with special wagers including $250,000 guaranteed early, middle, and late pick 5s and a $5 Woodbine Stakes pick 3, which has a 15% takeout, plus many more wagering opportunities. You will not want to miss King's Plate Day at Woodbine. For more information on racing and wagering at Woodbine, visit woodbine.com.
This is I Ask, They Answer on the Equine Forum on HRRN.
And Sovereignty is starting to come with a big bid through 3/4 in 109 and 3. They're at the top of the stretch. Nitrogen with a 3-length lead. Sovereignty bearing down in the middle of the racetrack and coming at her. and Sovereignty with a devastating stretch kick has taken control of the Whitney. Nitrogen, Antiquarian, and all the others left in the wake of Sovereignty, who's back on top, strolling in to win the Whitney by over 5 lengths. The battle for second between Nitrogen and Antiquarian.
That's Frank Miramati with the call of last weekend's Whitney. Following that powerful win, are Dale and Tim sold that Sovereignty is back to his Hall of Fame form? We'll talk about that topic and much, much more. Plus, is it too early to jump ship on Magnitude? And how does White Barrio's career stack up with other top horses of his generation? We'll tackle those topics with trainer Dale Romans and turf writer Tim Wilkin on this week's edition of I Ask, They Answer, presented by the University of Louisville, Equine Industry Program and the College of Business, and all coming your way just 30 seconds from right now.
A spark turns into a dream, and your dreams fuel a love that will last a lifetime. Turn your passion into a career with experienced guidance, a thorough study of equine business, as well as opportunities to get your hands dirty and put your mind to work. Located in the heart of horse country, let your passion fuel your profession at the U of L Equine Industry Program. Apply today.
Certainly plenty to digest following last Saturday's Whitney, in which reigning Horse of the Year Sovereignty rolled to that nearly 5-length win over a stacked field of older horses. Favored Magnitude finished a distant 6th after stumbling at the start. So, guys, I ask you, are you a believer that Sovereignty is back to his Horse of the Year form? Tim?
I do. You look at Sovereignty's first 2 races, okay? Excuse me. And the first one, after being off for, since the Travers, and he missed the Breeders' Cup, and when he came into the Oaklawn Handicap, he ran a pretty solid second. But he didn't win. So, when the horse of the year doesn't win, people are probably going to throw up red flags, right? And then in the Stephen Foster, he was third, and that's the whole team, the Bill Mott team, were drawing a line through that, saying he just didn't like that track. Bill told me that after that race, after the Foster, he said the horse was coughing for over an hour, and he'd never seen that before. He took a lot of dirt in that race and on that off track, and so you throw that out. If you're a Sovereignty believer, you throw that out. And then he comes back to Saratoga, where he's excelled for his whole career. And he, even when he was last on the backside, he unleashed that furious kick and won for fun. So, yeah, I think his mulligan was in the Stephen Foster. And I think, that now moving forward, he's got the Jockey Club Gold Cup and the Breeders' Cup Classic to go for this year. I think for sure, I think he's back to his form. Yes, I do.
Yeah, he's definitely back, and it's good for racing. And it's, he just ran a huge race. He's the best horse out there, and we were doubting him a little bit. But I'm glad he's back, and he looked great doing it. And, and Junior rode a great race. It was just, everything was perfect.
Okay, so if Sovereignty is back, then I'll ask the captain of Team Magnitude. He is on your squad, Dale. Is it too early to jump ship on him?
No, absolutely not. Steve will do some tweaking on him, getting back. I mean, there was a fast pace. The filly ran well. She kept going. He didn't. He's going to find some spots where he's going to shake free early and keep right on going.
Yeah, you look at Magnitude. I think it was Saratoga. I just don't think he likes the Saratoga track. Last year he gets beat in the Travers by 20 lengths, and this year in the Whitney he gets beat by 15. Some horses just don't like certain tracks, and I think you can say Magnitude did not like Saratoga. I think he's a quality horse. I don't know. I still don't think he's as good as Sovereignty, but I think he's going to make some noise before the end of the year. Absolutely.
You're right. It's a graveyard of champions for a reason. There's a lot of horses coming in and do not like it.
Yeah.
Just ask American Pharaoh.
Yeah, right. Well, he just got outrun by a better prepared horse.
Hey, Tim, let me ask you this question. Both Sovereignty and Forever Young, who are the first and second ranked horses in the Breeders' Cup Classic poll, could end up meeting in the Jockey Club Gold Cup at Belmont on September 18th. That would be a fantastic showdown. If they do, which horse do you expect to be favored in that?
That's an interesting question, Mike, because the Japanese, if they take the race over there, they'll bet hand over fist on Forever Young. But Sovereignty is a very, very popular horse over here, and this is opening day at Belmont Park, the new Belmont Park. And what better way to christen it than to have a New York horse, a New York-based horse running the Jockey Club Gold Cup, and the mile and a quarter is Sovereignty's distance. I mean, I think it'll be a fantastic, fantastic race, but I think Sovereignty will be a slight favorite over Forever Young. That's my opinion.
Yeah, if they don't get the money from Japan, he'll be the favorite for sure. If they get money from Japan, no, he'll be second choice.
Let's putting a bow on last weekend, and we did see Sovereignty return to his form, but we have to go to a horse that we are not going to see again because Shane in North Carolina has topic number 2 for us. Following his last place finish in the Whitney, White Abarrio has been retired, and his resume is impressive with $8.5 million in earnings and 4 Grade 1 victories. How would you evaluate his overall career compared to other top dirt horses in the last several years? And what's going to be his legacy? And I'm going to ask one more on this, and I'm going to ask you first, Dale. How do you think he'll be received at stud?
I don't know that he's going to be real popular when he goes to stud. He just doesn't have enough pedigree to back up his race record. But I hope he does. I hope he goes on and has some good foals. And, he's a backside favorite because he's got a funny way of training all the time. Everybody knows that. It's real publicized. And he goes out there and runs hard every time. And we all watch him train in the mornings because he's a big white horse out there. He's pretty getting along over the racetrack. But, he's just a grinder. He's a blue-collar working man's horse.
He is. How he'll be remembered, I don't know if it's fair to compare him to other older horses of his, of recent years. I mean, like California Chrome was a 2-time horse of the year. If you want to go back to even like Wise Dan, same thing. White Abarrio did most of his good work in Florida. He did that one stretch where he won the Whitney up here, and then won the Breeders' Cup Classic when he was with Rick Dutrow. Then he went back to Saffie Joseph where he belonged. And Saffie did a good job with him. I mean, he had 4 Grade 1 wins. I think he ran in like 15 Grade 1s, which is, that's an achievement in itself to be able to be competitive in that many Grade 1 races over a 28 race career. I don't think he's going to go down as one of the all-time greats for sure, but he's going to go. In my book, he's going to go down as one of the all-time great triers. I mean, he always gave everything he had. Even in the Whitney when he finished last, he tried. He did try, but it was the writing was on the wall that it was time for him at the age of 7 to hang up the running shoes, and it happened to everybody, and it happened to every horse. Time had just caught up with him, and he should go down as a hard trying horse and a popular horse too, like Dale said. I mean, with that big white horse, you could always tell when he was on the track, and he would stand around and he would do things on his own terms. He would, when he was ready to go, then he'd go. But it was a joy to watch him train for up here. Just a joy to be around him when I would be at Saffie's barn, and it's always sad when they go, to end their racing career. But he should be remembered as a really hard trying horse.
Dale, let me follow up on your comments about his pedigree as he now transitions into his next career as a stallion. If you're running a stud farm and you're looking for a stallion, would you prefer a horse that has a less accomplished race record with a strong pedigree, or something like a White Abarrio where they have a great race record but not as much pedigree, or maybe the ideal combination is having both?
Well, that deal combination is APND. I mean, he's one of the few horses was a sale topper, champion, and great stallion. But pedigree would come first. Genetics don't lie to you in this game. And you have the outliers that don't have much pedigree, and those are the kind that everybody likes to get behind and watch run. And he was just a fun horse to have around. But pedigree comes through, and that's why he ran so long, though, because he was always going to have limited people wanting to go out and buy him for a stallion prospect. But if you ask me between the two, I'll take pedigree. Now, if I'm at the sale and I'm buying a horse, I want to buy the horse that looks the best, not the best pedigrees, because I couldn't afford the ones that look great and have great pedigree.
Yeah. Interesting stuff. White Barrio, we will remember you fondly. Best of luck in that new stallion career. We move on to topic number 3. It is our friend Nick Zito with Right or Wrong, and it comes to us from Tom in St. Louis.
Yeah, right or wrong? Am I right? What do you think? Right or wrong?
Guys, Tom wants to know your thoughts on 0 for 10 maiden Oselli, who is being pointed to the Travers Stakes on August 29th. He asks if it would be better for Oselli to run in the $250,000 St. Louis Derby that same day, where he would probably be the favorite, as opposed to his connections taking their shot in the Travers, which offers a significantly bigger purse. Are Oselli's connections making the right or wrong move?
What do you think? Right or wrong?
Dale, what do you think?
Now, if you're going to go over there and run in the $200,000 race, you might as well run in a $100,000 maiden race. So I think, they're just trying to make as much money as they can with him during his 3-year year, and he always shows up and is competitive. He's a good horse. So, yeah, run for the big money. If you run second or third, you still get as much as you would over there.
Tom from St. Louis, I'm not trying to say anything about bashing the St. Louis Derby, but I guess I am. What is he? He has everything to lose and nothing really to gain if he goes to the St. Louis Derby. Even though he's a maiden, he'd be the favorite, and if he doesn't win, then what? He's always been competitive. He was in third in the Derby, he's fourth in the Preakness, second in the Ohio Derby. I mean, he's won $800,000 as a maiden. These guys, the Oselli camp, they want to take the big swings, and the biggest swing now is the Travers. I mean, they haven't made the final decision yet, but it's either going to be here or the Pennsylvania Derby. I think it's probably going to be here. I just don't think it would make any sense to go out to St. Louis, because what's he going to gain by going out there if he wins? I don't see the upside to that at all.
Now you might as well run the maiden race.
Would be getting a first win, but the St. Louis Derby, I just don't. It doesn't rate on. It doesn't measure high on my meter.
Mm-hmm. That's a good point, Timmy. Everything to lose, nothing to gain if he goes that direction. And as Dale said, if he runs a big race and the Travers comes up short, he'll still make an awful lot of money because of the bigger purse. And I think, if I'm not mistaken, Oselli could become the first maiden in history to make $1 million without winning a race. Is that right?
I think you are right.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yep, sounds right.
Yeah. Pretty special stuff. All right, we'll bring Nick Zito back for that segment again next week here on I Ask the Answer. Angela, you have our next topic.
Man, not a bad day's work for a maiden, but we are going on to topic 4 because we've got 2 storied races, not the St. Louis Derby, but there's a couple that are going to be renewed this weekend. The King's Plate at Woodbine, which is Canada's equivalent to the Kentucky Derby, and the Longacres Mile at Emerald Downs. If you could win only one, which trophy would you like to have on your mantle? Dale, I got to go to you first.
Oh, King's Plate. I mean, that's, for a restricted race, it's awfully popular and well known. So I think I'd like to have that trophy on my mantle. That's a good one.
Tim?
I don't even know why you would ask me that, because I would never have a horse in it.
Let's assume
it could happen, yeah.
I mean, as far as the prestige, you have to go with the King's Plate, right? I mean, it's the first leg of the Canadian Triple Crown. And what was the other one? The Longacres Mile.
Longacres Mile. That's a good race too. A lot of history there.
There is, but I think there's more prestige and tradition, and if you ask the average Jamoke what race they've heard of those two, they're going to say the King's Plate.
When it was the Queen's Plate, because it wasn't a king,
right?
Bob Yussery won it years and years and years ago, and that was all the races he won, the Hall of Fame career he had. I think one of those proud things, he brought a picture out one time and showed me a picture of the Queen handing him the trophy. She actually showed up and gave away the trophy. I thought that was pretty cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Both outstanding races, and again, going to be renewed this weekend. Should be fantastic. We've been talking about them throughout the show here this morning. Dale, I didn't get to this last week, but Gary in Louisville sent us a note, and he wants to know how Project Ace is doing. He showed plenty of promise this spring when he was third in the Holy Bull before going to the sidelines. How's Project Ace doing?
He's doing good. He cracked his shin and had to go to the sidelines for a little while. It wasn't a major injury. We put a screw in it. He'll be back. He'll be back to make a fall start probably, and look forward to having a good 4-year-old year with him.
Yeah, he's a tough horse. He showed all kinds of ability early on. We'll see if he can continue that going forward. You know who's showing a lot of ability is Angela Herman and her Steam team. She's making her maiden start in our Showdown competitions, guys, and here she is leading the way in the Showdown 5, and it ain't even close. She's ahead of me, 37-27. She's up by 10. Tim, she's got you by 17 points. You're sitting with 20, and Dale, who pulled off the Triple Crown last year, winning 3 in a row, is in last place with 19. Angela, this is your time to gloat.
Well, before I even throw it to Tim or Dale, I'm going to take beginner's luck from either one of you. Sorry, we'll take that out of it. Just plain luck. I got very lucky with some of the horses and the way that they've been running, but we've certainly got the contenders involved, and it's nice to see that everybody has been racing steadily over the last couple weekends. It's just this weekend we're out of horses somehow. I think we'll have to return next weekend with a little bit more firepower and see if we can't shake up these standings.
Yeah, Angela, if it was Timmy, I would say Cheap Speed, but I don't want to be mean to you.
No, hey, I am a big fan of that. I will bet Cheap Speed quite often in these races. And, I'm one of the members of my stable could be defined as that by the end of the season. I won't say which one it is, but, I've been known to be a sucker for that a time or two. I think we'll see how long I can carry my speed.
Well, congratulations.
You should enjoy it. You should enjoy it while you have it. Because as Dale well knows, fame is fleeting in this game, right?
Uh-huh. Yeah, this is a humbling game. I got to enjoy this while it lasts because it probably won't.
Well, you never know. You never know.
She's a strong team. I don't have much of a chance to catch you, I don't think, because I'm down to my 5 horses, and that's it. I've lost my 2 alternates already. Nyquist retired. And White Abario retired. So I'm down to 5. I have no other alternates. So if any of my other horses retire or go to the sidelines, I think I'm in trouble, guys.
Well, I know
down that road. Yeah.
We don't do double points for a graded race or something. Maybe the Breeders' Cup, when a lot of these horses are going to come out to play. Maybe we do double points or something like that.
Hey. Wait, Dale, now she's leading the competition. Now she wants to set the rules.
Yeah, because she's got all the favorites in all the divisions. Change the rules.
Oh, no.
You can't change the rules midstream now.
Oh, you tell me what Breeders' Cup race Suna is going to be favored in. I'm not sure about that one. Or Solitude Dude, for that matter. Come on now. I don't have sovereignty. Mike has sovereignty.
Oh, I thought you had him. All right.
No. I have Burnham Square. I don't think he's going to be favored against the Europeans in the turf if he makes it there.
All right. You can see all of our teams. You can see the standings. You can see the points. They're all there on our website, horseracingradio.net, so you can follow along every week. The competition, of course, runs through Breeders' Cup Saturday, October 31st. Going to get to our final point of the week here in just a minute, guys. But yesterday, our dear friend, Dale Romans, celebrated his 60th birthday. And Dale, Timmy said we should sing happy birthday to you. We're not going to do that on the air. We're going to spare our listeners that torture. But we put together a very special present for you here this morning. Happy birthday, my friend.
Thank you, buddy.
And it's time for today's birthday wishes.
The millionaire, the Secretariat winner, Patio Prado does it again with Kento Sormo for Donegal Racing and Dale Romans. Dale Romans.
Roses in May, dead game. Here's the wire. Roses in May in a spectacularly game performance.
The Roses in May, it's Gallons in March. Roses in May first.
Birthday.
Thorn Song, Hyperbaric, Thorn Song, right together, I think. It's Thornsong.
Kitten's Joy wins by 3 emphatic lengths.
Doulahan in a thriller in the TVG Pacific Classic. Doulahan's got him.
Oh, happy birthday!
Doulahan charging on the outside. Doulahan, tremendous stretch run. Shackleford is still there. Here's the wire. Shackleford holds on to the Preakness.
Birthdays make me uncomfortable.
But Brody's Cause in front. Brody's Cause for Luis Saez to win the Toyota Bluegrass.
But Promises Fulfilled is still there close to home. Promises Fulfilled is going to win the Allen Jerkins by a length and a half.
Birthday!
But no catching. Pre-drop Billy, who wins it for Robbie Alvarado.
And an upset here in the Ruffian to Swift Temper, who has defeated the odds-on.
Birthday? You said it's your birthday! Sassy image from nowhere storming down the outside!
Oh, you never know what's going to happen on your birthday.
And here on the far outside comes Keen Ice with a late threat. American Barrel put away Frosted. He has to deal with Keen Ice. Keen Ice has got him. Keen Ice has won the Travers over American Barrel in a dramatic upset.
Happy birthday to you!
So that's
Dale,
pretty
happy
good,
birthday.
boys. Thank you very much.
Yeah,
That's pretty
happy
good.
birthday.
It gave me chills. Makes me want to run back out to the barn this morning, check on some things.
Dale, 38 Grade 1 winners so far in your career, my man. Congratulations. That's awesome.
Thank you, buddy. That was very nice. Very nice. Thanks for y'all putting it together.
Aw, happy birthday, Dale.
Thank you. I don't know where the first 30 took a long time. That last 30 went pretty quick.
All right, guys, that brings us to our final point of the week. Tim Wilkin, as always, take us away.
Well, I just want to wish Dale a happy birthday. Known him for many, many years, and it's always a pleasure to hang out with him, especially in Saratoga and the golf cart brigade that hangs out in front of his barn every morning. Many good stories being told, and Dale, I hope we do it for many more years to come. Happy birthday.
Me too, my friend. Thank you, buddy. Me too, my friend. All I'm going to say is I'm 60. I'm not as good as I once was, but it might be good once as I ever was. Hopefully there's another Grade 1 out there. Thank you, everybody.
All right, guys, we're going to do it all over again next week. Dale, enjoy the weekend.
Thank you.
Timmy, you too. Enjoy it.
Thanks. See you guys.
If you want to hear Dale and Tim discuss a specific topic, all you have to do is email that topic to us. We'll do our best to work it into the show going forward. I Ask the Answer is presented every week by the University of Louisville, Equine Industry Program of the College of Business. We're back with more, including the answer to this week's Mojo Racing Impossible Trivia question next on the Equine Forum on the Horse Racing Radio Network, where racing comes to talk.
Here we go.
Come on, boys.
Good luck. And they're off. Be part of the story. Own the moment. Go to MojoRacingPartners.com to get your mojo working.
Life is loud. It's also fun. Hearing Health Foundation wants us to listen responsibly so we can hear all the things we love for life. Did you know that decibels measure sound intensity? But we just need to know that if it sounds too loud, it is too loud. And this can permanently harm our hearing. And it's not just about the volume, it's also about the duration, or how long we're wearing headphones to listen to music or play video games. So let's enjoy the concerts, the nights out, and the time with friends by listening smart. Let's protect our ears with earplugs. Earplugs are cool. And let's rest our ears by taking breaks in quiet, and we can turn it down even a little to help save our hearing a lot. Hearing Health Foundation wants us to keep listening to the sounds we love for life. Learn more and get more tips at hhf.org/keep-listening.
Did you receive a call or message that mentioned Social Security and demanded immediate action? Did the caller know your Social Security number or other personal information and tell you that your Social Security number had been used in connection with the crime? Did you feel worried that your Social Security number might be suspended, your bank account might be frozen or seized, or you could be arrested? That is not the Social Security Administration. Social Security will not threaten you, demand your personal information, or instant payment. Email or text you pictures or documents, or use a real government official's name to gain your trust. Social Security does not accept payments by gift card, prepaid debit card, internet currency, or by mailing cash. Criminals use these forms of payment because they are hard to trace. Do not be fooled. Hang up. Ignore them. Report this criminal activity to the Social Security Administration Office of the Inspector General at oig.ssa.gov.
Produced at U.S. taxpayer expense.
My battle buddies and I attended the NHL Stadium Series at Yankee Stadium. We had never been there before, and two of us had never seen a hockey game. Man, we had the time of our lives. It was great therapy. Ventix, we can't thank you enough.
Every empty seat at a concert, a game, motorsports, or a play is a missed opportunity to say thanks to a veteran and service member. We can help. We can give our veterans a special event where they too can create their own cherished memories. Find out how by visiting www.vettix.org. That's www.vettix.org. Find out how you can make a difference in a veteran's life.
You're listening to the Equine Forum on HRRN, presented by TwinSpires.
They race to the quarter, and Mies Gizmo's gone on by Shakamat, is able to come back a little bit, Shakamat, and running home well are Sir Dudley Diggs, Scholar Athlete, then Esposito. Top of the lead in the Queen's Plate, and Mies Gizmo trying to tear away. Shakamat on the inside. Down the outer is Sir Dudley Diggs. Sir Dudley Diggs the threat. Mies Gizmo in front, but here comes Sir Dudley Diggs and Julien Leparoux. Sir Dudley Diggs has hit the front, and Sir Dudley Diggs from Mies Gizmo. Sir Dudley Diggs has won the Queen's Plate. Mies Gizmo second, All on Red third, and Scholar Athlete fourth.
Magnitude rolling in the Stephen Foster Stakes is now on the cover of the August issue of Blood Horse, which is out now. Also in the August issue is a retrospective on Tom Fool and his regular rider, Ted Atkinson, a look at the successes of Centennial Farms, and much more. A Blood Horse subscription is a must-read for any true racing enthusiast. Visit bloodhorse.com/subscribe to get your print or digital subscription today. And for a limited time, receive a free Blood Horse branded tote with your subscription or renewal. Blood Horse Magazine is the premier monthly publication of the thoroughbred industry.
Angela, the reason I wanted to include that call of Sir Dudley Diggs winning the Queen's Plate back in 2016, I remember being there. We broadcast the race on Sirius XM on national radio, and I remember interviewing, not us, Jude and I were sitting trackside hosting the coverage, but we threw it out trackside to Jeff Bloom, and he interviewed Mike Maker, the winning trainer, and then he interviewed Ken Ramsey. And if you've ever had a chance to spend any time around Ken Ramsey, he is one of the most enthusiastic people you will ever meet about the sport of thoroughbred racing. And that was a special day. We became very close with Ken through our travels to Barbados. He always had a horse there, and I got to know him quite well. And that was a special day for Ken, for Mike Maker, Julien Leparoux, and the connections of Sir Dudley Diggs.
And I think that's what we're looking for in any King's or Queen's Plate, to have the characters come out, the good horses and the stories that come with them. And with horses like Luster and some of the other horses that are in the King's Plate, it's very easy to get enthusiastic about them, have stories about them. And it was a pleasure to hear some of these, throughout the morning. And then you got to remember, there's also another filly in there. You talk about fillies in the history of this race too. And the Girl Power could very well carry on with one of these two. But it's a good day of racing too. It can't just get lost in the King's Plate. A lot of graded stakes, a lot of great horses, and of course the great racing is throughout the country in the summer, so let's just continue to enjoy it.
Yeah, Dixie Law. We talked about Dixie Law earlier on the program. The other filly taking on the boys in today's King's Plate. 5.5 lengths behind Luster in the Woodbine Oaks last time out, so she has to make up those lengths and maybe even more on the boys, but at least 5.5 on Luster, who is the even money favorite later today in the King's Plate. Time now to check in with our producer, Lee Delapina. He has the answer to this week's Mojo Racing Impossible Trivia question.
Thanks, Mike. How many fillies have won the Canadian Triple Crown? Who were they and in what years? Well, there were two. There was Queensway in 1932 and Dance Smartly in 1991. Although in the case of Queensway, the Canadian Triple Crown was not officially established until 1959, so she actually won it a few decades before it was formally recognized. Thanks to Mojo Racing Partners for this week's Impossible Trivia question. Get your mojo working at mojoracingpartners.com.
All right, there you have it. Did you get it right? I hope you did. We'll be back with another Impossible Trivia question presented by our friends at Mojo next Saturday morning here on the program. So, Angela, we have talked a lot about the King's Plate and some of the races surrounding the King's Plate. You heard from Jeff Bratt earlier in the show, the handicapper at Woodbine, walking through his selections for those races. We spent some time talking about the Longacres Mile, which comes up tomorrow at Emerald Downs. It's their signature race, but it's always a fantastic race. And I just can't get over that storyline in that race. And again, we touched on it at the beginning of the show, but the storyline surrounding Slews Tiz Wiz, who is 8 years old. He's a Washington-bred gelding, won the race in 2022 and making his 5th consecutive start tomorrow afternoon.
It's good to see some of the horses that endure and last through time, and not only keep racing through time, but stay at their best through time. So really getting to see them get their accomplishments. And it's not just in the Longacres Mile, but throughout this year, it really proves how tough it can be to get a horse through that kind of campaign, keep him going. And I really hope that just a good race for him, because it's a great story, like you said.
Who's your top pick in the King's Plate? I know you mentioned it in hour one, but if people are just tuning in at the end of the show here, your top pick.
My top pick in the King's Plate is the filly that's been the topic of discussion at times through this morning, the rail horse Luster. I just think that she is going to be even better than we can imagine. She just keeps getting better and better. I don't know if we've seen the ceiling from her, but I think that we're going to see a big race from her this afternoon.
A reminder that if you want to hear more about King's Plate contender Bricchetto, you can tune in to the podcast of my trainer talk show from yesterday, where I spent an hour with Bricchetto's trainer, Julia Carey. There were a lot of great stories, and she talked in depth about her King's Plate contender. It will be a special day. It's going to be a special day for her and for the connections, and we'll see if Bricchetto can find a way to pull off a little bit of an upset, 5-1 second choice on the morning line. But the race definitely goes through Luster. Angela, it's been a fun 3 hours. We'll do it all over again next week.
I'm looking forward to it. Same time, same place. I will see you next Saturday.
All right. If you missed any portion of the show, check out the podcast on our website, horseracingradio.net, or your favorite podcast platform. My thanks to our producer, Lee Delapina, in our Lexington studios, Chauncey, for handling all of our social media. For Angela Herman, I'm Mike Penna. Thanks for listening. Go Steelers.